I don't know about it. Oh, yes, sir. You got to. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum. You all may be seated. Hope we are ready for some fun or a good time today. Do we have any Christians here? Anyone other than Muslim? All right, very good. I'm going to start off today. I hope it's not slow to you. Would it be all right if I dealt with the Muslims first, and then we can deal with those ones that are not Muslim and what you think or what you would like to know? I would like very much for those ones that are not Muslim or don't know anything about the Muslim doctrine as far as the lessons are concerned from the messenger to ask me things that has meaning to you. However, it has been prophesied that the God or Allah would come after the remnants, or the 144,000, or the elect, as it reads in the Bible and different scriptures. There must be a place where that was produced. And it has to be from one place, not a lot of different ideologies, religions, or different faiths. It has to be one place. And that place was the Nation of Islam under the messenger, the leadership of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now, when John was being given the revelation, he saw more than 144,000 when he looked again. Those are the ones that will be actually with me. So you get a good look at me today to see if you really want to be with me. To be with me is a very good place to be. It means that you're going to have a lot of work to do, and the work is going to be very, very rewarding. You will grow into thinking the way that you're supposed to think, the way that you were created and made to think. And when you do that, you will experience the service of the whole universe to you. In other words, you will experience what everything is really about and what it's for. And you will come to find out that it is made especially to serve you. However, we made it in such a way, if we deviated, it wouldn't, the planet wouldn't, the universe wouldn't. We would find ourselves in trouble, although it wouldn't be. Now, if we come back to being who we really are, then we could get back to experiencing what we have made from the beginning. Now, don't go to sleep on me today. All right? I really would like for those of you that are not Muslim, erase whatever you have in your mind, any thoughts that's preconceived or whatever, and when the mic is open or the floor is open for you to ask questions, if you heard something that perplexes you or you don't agree with, if you respectfully question me, I'll be more than glad to give you the exact answer. We need knowledge today that's going to actually make us rulers. We can't be a ruler if you don't have the knowledge to be a ruler. And what we've been hearing for the last, well, before the Million Man March, it has escalated now 1 million times after the march, what we have got to start to do, what we must get ready to do. If you got to start to do something or get ready to do it, it means you're not doing it. And we've been here now in this particular part of the planet over 400 years, and we still are not doing what it takes for us to be independent or free or to show that we are a people of strength or might. That's a fact. That's not debatable. We can't argue with that. However, I being God, actually being Him, made preparations before I actually showed up as I'm showing up now. For those ones that would want to think and want to see the planet free from sin, they accepted the messenger and the message that I prepared and sent by him. This may seem very strange to you. Quite a few of you here that already know me and have already been into the lessons, and they're doing studies with the lessons. So it's not strange to them, but those of you that this may sound new to you, however, it reads in the Bible, he makes all things new. He makes it new. However, I must give you an understanding of what you are already in, so I can justify myself of making things new. If you don't fully understand what you have, what you are in, or what you want to get into, or what other people in your family or organizations, what it really is compared to what really supposed to be, it's difficult for me to justify bringing something in new when you don't understand what you already have. Is that clear? So I would like for you to feel very free to ask me whatever you would like to ask me for the express purpose of knowledge. I want to start off with the Muslims that came under the messenger for a short period. When the messenger was here with us, he didn't just come with a message just for the public. The message had or has direct instructions with it. It is called lessons. And these lessons are actually the foundation or the basic or the schematic of this planet and what we must do as far as getting back to be ourselves. Is that clear? You know, how many have heard that I was going to be here on radio? May I see by your hands? That's all? It was announced quite a few times over the radio. I guess everyone that heard didn't come. You know, just think to yourself, if you had a child, and when you left the hospital, let's say before the child really got to know that you really are his parents, you had to give the child up. Then after the child got to be 11 or 12 years old, circumstances made it where you could be reunited. Now you're telling the child that I'm your father or I'm your mother. But the child don't want to believe that. But you know because you had the child. But the child is giving you all kind of problems, and if the child remains where it is, the people or the custodians or the ones that is taking care of the child has no love for the child, has nothing in its heart, in their heart, for the advancement of the child as it should grow or as it should be. But you being the parent, and you know that you are, and now God has blessed you with a circumstance that you can actually be back reunited with this child and cause the child to grow properly. But now it's not the parents or the custodians of the children that's giving you problems, it's the child themselves. You think about this. There is no different in that scenario than it is with me. Because I don't appear the way you think I should, in your mind it can't be. This can't be God, not the God that I've been praying to. My foreparents, my grandmother's grandmother's grandmother, not the ones that cried when we were brought over here 400 years ago and wanted to go back home. He can't be that God. Well, Muslims, we were taught that Allah came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, and Master Farad Muhammad was born in 1877. So that means we were already over here before he was even born. So how could you accept him for being God? But you cannot accept the present God. And what you hear coming from me far supersedes what Master Farad Muhammad left here, or Allah in the person of Master Farad Muhammad left here just in the lessons. Because I'm explaining what the lessons are actually saying. And I'm doing it in a mathematical way. So you can't say, I'm wrong. And if you hold on to your own belief and say, well, but it just can't be him, you still can't say, I'm wrong. If it's not me, who is it? If it is not me, child, is it your custodians? I think you already know it's not them. Is it the one that has had custody of you? You already know it's not them. Is it your minister or pastor? That's the wrong title in the first place. So it can't be them. Is it the president or is it the Pope of Rome? He don't say he's God, so it can't be him. He's been here long enough to do something about this problem we're in, so it can't be him. Well, who possibly could it be? Is it someone that has been here all along? Or is it someone that is to come? And you will recognize him when he gets here. If that is true, how will you recognize him? How? What is it that your custodian has shared with you or given you to make you to know when the real authority steps in? If we have been reared by Satan or the devil, whether you want to call him the devil or not, we are under a man today that all of his actions bear witness that he is not a righteous man. However, you have been reared by this man, so you keep having hope that maybe he'll turn around and he'll see the light and he'll do what's right. But he was the one that brought us here. We didn't come. He brought us here 400 and some years ago. And from that time until now, we cannot point to not one thing that this man has done that's actually righteous for us as a people. Matter of fact, even for his own people. So it can't be him. And if you've been laboring under his thinking, how are you going to tell God when he does show up, the supreme being? How? You think about this. Get the tape and think about it. You listen at what's being said. Those of you, this is the first time you've encountered me or had any dealings with this or with me. We have tapes or prior tapes. I would encourage you to purchase them. We sell them mostly for what they cost us, with nothing on it. Blank tapes. In other words, they're very cheap. But what's on the tape, you can't get around it. Matter of fact, this is what I'm experiencing. I'm experiencing the rebelliousness of the child because it accepted what the custodian has taught it. So much so that all of the ones that are in power or in the position of power purposely go the other way from me. Because they know they don't have the knowledge to express to you what God really is, or who he is, or how he would be, or what time he's to show up and can prove it, and still keep your allegiance to them. If they start to accept me and come out and say something, the language that I speak is English, but the way that it is constructed or put together, it is not the way that they speak or think. And this is written in the Bible. I don't think the way you think, nor do I do what you do. My thoughts and ways are not that of yours. So when they come and they hear and they know it is true, they know it's right. Even if they send for us to get a tape where they can sit in their own private place and listen, we never hear from them again. We want to have as less movement here today as possible, because the time is moving so rapidly. You need to listen to every word I say, whether I say it right or wrong. You still need to listen. The one thing that is set, is already set, is destruction. Whether you accept me or not, you're not going to change that. The only thing you can do is accept this and get your own self out of the way of the destruction. And you can't say we're not, it's in process already. It's only magnifying itself. You can't send your children to school. They get killed in school. If they don't get killed outright, literally, they're being killed mentally. Right before your eyes. But because you're dead, it's hard for you to recognize that they're being killed. Are you all following me? I don't expect those ones of you that are not with us or know what's going on to understand what you're hearing now. But it is to your advantage that you fly to this. I'm not a person that don't have anything going. We have the banking system set up for you, but the most important thing that I have going is the power of the universe. I can smile in your face and tell you, yes, you better come, and it would be best if you come today. Because tomorrow, I'm bringing a curse down on this city, this country, or this planet. You may be thinking, well, he's talking crazy now. He's got power. Bring a curse down. Well, if you read your book, the book of Malachi says, we will send Elijah just before that great and dreadful day to turn your hearts and your thinking back to me. And if you won't, I will smite the earth with a curse. It's already written. So I'm not saying something in that way that's new. However, you better wake up. You better wake up. I've heard it announced over the radio 2 or 3 times from people that's supposed to be prominent. Matter of fact, I was told, I didn't hear it this morning, but I was told that even Ben Chavis was told that God himself was going to be here over the radio. And the listening audience, if I'm not mistaken, it reaches pretty near 1 million. Now, whether 1 million turns it on or not, but look how many is here. Because the child is still stuck on the foster parent. And the foster parent is our open enemy. However, I'm not going to delay the destruction not 1 second. You know why? Because those ones that have actually have power over the planet, that are working in conjunction with me, I've already promised to them what I would do, and the math told us when it should be done. You know, it's like you go and purchase an automobile or purchase something that's on time, and they give you the time when the payments are to be made. And you have a time when the last payment is made, and then you can say it is yours. There's no different with this. I can say, well, I'm insulted. However, that's not going to stop the payment. That's not going to stop. Your preachers and pastors are in the temples and churches jumping up and down about me. However, they don't know it's me and don't want to know, because if they do, they got to change. And they don't want to change. They believe if they change, then you won't change with them, and it will be in their church like it is here. And they can't make the mortgage. They can't ride in a big car. They can't look important. Well, is it right for them to look important to you? Or should they be getting themselves right to be with me? And what makes them think that I'm so weak that when you do right, I don't reward you? What does it make you all think that way? If a pastor tells the truth, and he has many, many people in his church, if he stands up and tells the truth, and he wants to do it in a way where it's in his language, I'll teach him how to do it. but to him they're still new. And what is it about you all that would leave his church if he still did start speaking something that's true? Is it the loyalty that you gave and promised and pledged to your foster parents? Is that what stops us? Well, let me get into this so we can see exactly how this took place. The promise that we made with Satan. Today we can call this, matter of fact, promise. The label this tape, promise, and the effects of promise. In the lessons, is this too slow for you all? Those of you all that are not Muslim, I'm not going to be too long on this, and then we'll get into what maybe you want to understand. But this is what we need to know. This is what was sent and given to Elijah in 1930 all the way up to 1933 and a half. These lessons was given to him over that span of time, 3.5 years. And then he grew into the understanding of them as we had mental conversations after that. You know, Master Farah Muhammad left in 1934, mysteriously disappeared. No one has seen him since. However, let's look at what it reads. Now, this is for the Muslims, and those of you that are not Muslims, get the tape so you can go over this. It's being spoken. I'm going to give a short understanding of exactly what it is and what it means. Now, I didn't bring my glasses, and God does wear glasses occasionally. Let me see. This is what we promise our open enemy, or the devil, or the being that we made and gave him 6 days to rule. This is what we promised him. We brought him into existence. And because of what he was doing amongst ourselves, we ran him out from amongst us. However, we still had to keep our promise to him. Muslims, look at this. This is under lesson number 1. And I'm starting with number 4. This is a promise that we're keeping to this man. This is how it starts off. Question. Why did we run Yaku and his maid devil from the root of civilization over the hot desert into the cave of West Asia, as they now call it, Europe? What is the meaning of Ur and rope? How long ago? What did the devil bring with him? What kind of life did he live? And how long before Musa came to teach the devil of the forgotten technology? All right, the answer. Because they had started making trouble amongst the righteous people, telling lies. And we got to bear witness, this man is a master at lying. They accused the righteous people, accusing them causing them to fight and kill one another. Yaku was an original black man and was the father of the devil. He taught the devil to do this devilishment. The root of civilization is in Arabia at the holy city Mecca, which means where the wisdom and knowledge of the original man first started, when the planet was founded. We ran the devil over the Arabian desert. We took from them everything except the language, and made him walk every step of the way. It was 2,200 miles. He went savage and lived in the caves of Europe. Ur meaning hillside, and rope is the rope to bind in. It was 6,019 years ago. Musa came 2,000 years later and taught him how to live a respectful life, how to build a home for himself, and some of the technology that Yaku taught him, which was devilishment, telling lies, stealing, and how to master the original man. And you got to admit, he's mastered you. Musa was a half original, a prophet, which was predicted by the 23 scientists in the year 1, 15,019 years today. Now, this is a promise This is the this is the promise, thank you, that's being kept to this man. We drove him out from amongst us, and the Christians, it says that we drove Adam and Eve out of the Garden of Eden. The Garden of Eden is where we were, the righteous people. And because they started telling lies and causing us to fight and kill each other, we found out who was doing it, and we drove them out from amongst us, and then we drove them across the Arabian desert. At that time, they had no means of transportation as we know it now, so they walked 2,200 miles, naked. We took everything from them like they took everything from us when they brought us here in the form of our culture, our knowledge, our God. They took everything. Although they let us keep clothes, but that's the wrong kind of clothing. If you're not clothed with the knowledge of truth, you're naked. Are you all following me? Well, don't say this is a day that is not well spent. Don't even think that. I haven't really got into anything real heavy now. And for the Muslims, where it reads about the time here, it was 6,019 years ago. 6,000. We gave the devil 6,000 years to rule. His time was up in 1914. When the messenger received this lesson, it was 1933. 19 years after his time was up. So it was 6,019 years. You got it? All right. Now, this is the promise we made to him. We brought him back and taught him how to master us, and we're living that out today. I just wanted to read that to let us know about the time and how we kept our promise. All right? Now, when you go, we have classes called mathematical thinking classes. When you go to class, and what you heard on the tape, if you want to get into any more explanation to that, we will do that. All right? I want to go along a little faster than what I'm going. Next, we had original rules. All of the laborers that came under the Nation of Islam or under this teaching or the message, the laborers labored under rules, as same as we are in this country. This devil has rules. He's made laws that we are to go by. I wanted to read this particular one because after we come out from this 6,000 years, this is what is promised to us. Now, it's in the lessons. You don't get this in your church. You get the reading of the Bible, but you don't get what's going on here. I'll read this. This is original rules, and it's number 2. Each student must qualify him or herself for a position awaiting them. Assignments of office will be made immediately after examination and on completion of his or her labor course. Consideration for the laborers of Islam will be taken and analyzed in the near future by Allah. Did you hear that? All right, so those of you that were already with the messenger, you've gone through a course. Now we are starting back, this remnant. You all are the remnants and starting back. I will personally give you your assignment or your position based on how you've gone through your course. You that haven't accepted Islam, know anything about it, especially the messenger, haven't done this. Who is going to save you? Better spoken, what is going to save you? If it is not me, it cannot be a who. It has to be a what. And what is that? Thinking. Being able to think mathematically. I hope you all didn't come today thinking that I was going to be shouting and jumping up and down and speaking about the minister and getting you all emotionally upset and in charge and charged up. I hope you didn't. Get this tape and you'll see how valuable it is. Like I said, I won't spend a lot of time on this. Lesson number 2. These are things that I want you to go over. Muslims, get the tape and go over it. Let's look at number 11. Nope. lesson number 1. We're going over 11. This is very short. Now, after you've gone through your course, and you're doing this to qualify yourself to really learn how to think and to be in accord with the time and think like God, think like I do. This is what we must come in reality with. Number 11 of lesson number 1. Have you not learned, past tense, that your word shall be, bond, regardless of whom or what? How many of you all that are not Muslims and those that are Muslims, how many can say that your word is bond? Not one, can you? Because you haven't been practicing it. If you would practice it, I would give you the strength to make it bond. Let's read it again. This is number 11. Have you not learned that your word shall be bond, regardless of whom or what? Answer. Yes, my word is bond, and bond is life, and I will give my life before my word shall fail. Wake up. Are you listening? How many of you can do that? Can you? This means if your word is to be made bond, when you use shall, it's not that way yet. It shall be bond. And the only way you can make it bond, you have to think mathematically. And the math of what you think according to the creation automatically tells you whether you can or you can't, whether it is or whether it isn't, whether it's up, whether it's down, whether it's out, whether it's in. So when you speak it, you are speaking for the universe, and the universe don't lie. So when you speak it, this is the universe speaking through you, through the language that you can understand. And since it's the universe saying it, it is bond. You can't lose. But you cannot gain that language speaking that which your grandparents or your foster parents has taught you. Because it tells you in the Bible, my thoughts and ways are not yours. Matter of fact, in the Bible it reads that God's ways are strange. Of course, this is Satan saying this. Because if it was God, I would have said God's ways are right. Not strange. But he's talking to his own people. So you understand what he's saying. So wouldn't you want to be right instead of strange? Now why, if I'm the one, if the entity that's in me is in accord with, or even if I myself created this, why should I be strange to you? If you're not doing the way you were created and made to be, then you are strange to me. Not me strange to you. Are you listening? All right. Lesson number 2. I got a couple things to do, and that will be at the end of this. 17, 18, 19, and 20. 17, 18, 19, and 20. They're like one-liners. 17. What is the meaning of civilization? What does that mean? Answer, according to God. One having knowledge, wisdom, understanding, culture, refinement, and is not savage. Pursuit of happiness. Do you all have that? Let me read it again, the answer. One having knowledge. You can stop right there. If you have knowledge, what is it? It makes no difference if you have the knowledge to put the math together to send the space shuttle out in space. That's the wrong knowledge. It reads here, one having knowledge, wisdom, understanding. We can stop there. Culture, refinement. To be refined, you have to practice. What have you been practicing? I'm talking to all of you all. What have you been practicing? If you're going to sharpen a knife or sharpen an axe, the millstone that's running over or the machinery that you're using has to go over it several times to make it sharp or refine it. If you're sifting flour, well, this is the same thing you do with knowledge, so that you can actually be the knowledge in a refined way. Refinement, and is not savage. Being that and having the understanding of it automatically makes you not to be a savage. and you have the pursuit of happiness. Number 18. What is the duty of a civilized person? Now, these last two I'm about to read, I would like for you to pay more attention to that than any of the others that I've read or about to read. When you go over it with your tape and you listen to it, you really listen to this. What is the duty of a civilized person? This means all of those that are with me. Answer. To teach the uncivilized people who are savage, civilization, righteousness, the knowledge of himself, the science of everything in life, love, peace, and happiness. What science do you have and who's teaching it? About life, not about what's in your brain cells and how crack messes you up and what part of the brain it fries and cooks. Who is teaching the science of life? No one is doing it other than myself. You all should wake up. I try to fix the time where you would come before you eat so you wouldn't go to sleep. If we did it at 6 o'clock in the evening, you eat at 5 and you come and sit in and listen and you don't hear anything because the food puts you to sleep. Listen carefully. These are not lessons that we just supposed to throw away or that was written or given to the messenger 30 or almost 50 or 60 some years ago. It was given then for now. To teach the uncivilized, we have classes to teach you. Civilization, righteousness, knowledge of himself, the science of everything. I teach. There's no question you can ask me that I cannot give you the answer and teach you on it. And the science of it. And if you think that I'm not able to do it, as soon as we open the floor up, go to the mic. I don't see the mic. Is it here? Oh, yes. Go to the mic, and try me for the express purpose of learning. That's what we want to do. Now, if a civilized person does not perform his duty, what must be done? Muslims, if you refuse to perform your duty, what must be done? The answer, if a civilized person does not perform his duty, which is teaching civilization to others, they should be punished with a severe punishment. Ezekiel 18, chapter 3:18. St. Luke chapter 12:47. I'm going to read Ezekiel. It's very short to show you that it's already in the Bible, Christians. Exactly what is to be done if you refuse to do that. Not saying you, but the ones that is already civilized. I keep saying wake up, don't go to sleep. Because it's going to get good in a minute. All right, now, it's being backed up in Ezekiel. And it reads in chapter 3, verse 18, it reads, when I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest him no warning, nor speaketh to warn the wicked from his wicked ways, to save his life. The same wicked man shall die in his iniquities, but his blood will I require at thine hands. This means the wicked people that are doing wicked, and you or we that are supposed to be civilized, and we do not tell them, we don't have to make them accept it. If you're holding back from speaking to those ones that should be spoken to because you don't think they're going to accept what you say, then at the end, the wicked man is surely going to die from his own wickedness. It's like a man drowning in his own vomit when you were standing there and could help him. And because you refused to help, his death, his life will be charged to you. Now, I'm not speaking in no third person, like this is what God told me to say, or this is what I might want to do. I've already said it. You have read it. I'm going over it, and I'm actually requiring this of you, Muslims. Now, we got the Nation of Islam started 1930. And it's already in our lessons, Muslims, in the problem book, that Master Farad Muhammad came here as a prophet. He was sent by the other 11 or really 12 scientists, as a messenger here. And he labored here 3.5 years. And during the 3.5 years that he labored here in the wilderness of North America, in the heart of it, in Detroit, it said that he would get at least 25,000. 25,000 in the course of those 3 years, 3.5 years. And if I'm not mistaken, it has been well known, I think it's well known, that Master Farad Muhammad named 25,000 original black people in Detroit, Michigan. So that messenger and that prophet is not the one that we speak about in regards of the messenger. That is not the messenger that lesson talks about. The messenger hasn't named no 25,000 people, nor did he get them in that sense where he named them. You got that, Muslim? All right. Now, keep this in mind. Now, we're going to go over to the other. This is what must be done. It says you should be punished by the nation of Islam. Why the nation? Because these are the ones that are supposed to be civilized. Now, also, it bears witness to this in the Bible. This is in Luke, chapter 12, verse 47. And it reads here, "And that servant which knoweth his Lord's will, and prepares not himself, neither did according to his will, shall be beaten with many straps." Did you hear that? Here's the key. "And that servant which know his Lord's will," not the servant that don't know, but the one that knows the Lord's will and is prepared not himself. He don't prepare himself to do anything. He knows what's supposed to be done, but he just goes on about what he calls his business or your business of robbing you. He will be whipped with many stripes. "But he that know not and did commit things wrongly, of stripes shall he be beaten with few stripes." You understand what's happening? For the man that is doing wrong and don't know, he's going to be beaten, but not as severely as you. This is what the Bible reads here. I just want to go over this quickly, because we got to get into some of the lessons before I just keep on going the way that I have been doing it. I must solidify myself as being the author of this and the God that I am, the supreme being. Does that frighten you? Well, does it? The presence of the supreme being, if it does not frighten you, you should be here. You should be like it reads in the book. "I'm styled as Solomon," and according to Solomon, they stood around him night and day. He was never by himself. Not because that was his will. The people wouldn't leave him alone. That's how much they loved him. Am I experiencing that? I'm experiencing it, but at a minute rate. You hear, how long does it take for you to keep constantly hearing over and over and over what we must do? What we want? How many children must we lose to violence? You all call it violence, but I call it ignorance. If the black man knew, and if the parents knew, they would not allow their children to grow up the way that they have. But you didn't know. Because when we raised the messenger up, and you listen to this, when we raised the messenger up, your parents were so afraid of white people and so against Elijah that they put it into you. Leave that alone. Don't even investigate it. If you go to say anything about it or do anything, we're putting you out of the house. The man is crazy. He's a hate teacher. You quoted what your foster parents told you. Now, since your parents' done that, then this left you unable to rear your children because things were studied declining. Studied declining. Now, since your child now is growing up large enough to smack you in the face, steal your money, wreck your car, wreck your marriage, make sure you don't have a bank account because they're always in trouble and you got to bail them out. Because you couldn't teach them, and now they are teaching themselves, and what they do is say, well, listen, go put a hit out on this girl. She disobeyed me. And the child ends up dead. because this has been a progression. The sins of the parents is on the heads of the children. The sin is you didn't teach them the truth. This book reads, the Bible reads, if you rear the child up right, it will not stray from the way it was reared. How many of you reared your children? How many even have your children in your home today and you are the master of your home? Don't raise your hand because I wouldn't want to know. But I'm here. And I came after the elect, the ones that has already proven that they wanted what I sent through the messenger, meaning that I prepared my wife, your mother. And those of you that loved your mother, Elijah Muhammad, and stuck to what she taught, proves to me that she has some children that I now can reward. I want you to listen, Muslims, and those of you that are not. Now, I came after them and also to usher out judgment on everything that is against that and against me. We already had it written in the Bible that you would be here for 400 years, and at the end of 400 years, that I would come, God himself, the supreme being, Allah, would come himself, and you would be brought out with great substance. Not that a minister would bring you out, not that a reverend of your church that you liked so well that would bring you out. Even if they could bring you out, this is the one thing they can't do. It's written already before I came. I said I would bring you out with great substance and then judge the one that afflicted you. They have no power to even judge their own children in their own house. So how can they judge this man that's going out in space looking back at you from a telescope? How can you judge him? You don't have the knowledge. So I don't care what they tell you from Minister Farrakhan on down, that God will be at Dunbar, God himself, the real God? That's got to be somebody that's crazy. That's not even worthy of my attention. Well, if it's not, you tell me what is. And who you looking for. Wake up. You'll know hotter than me. I got the lights on me and I am the light. This may be a sobering speech or teaching or message, but it is real. I, of all people, have more feelings than you. But I have mastery over my feelings. I don't cry outwardly. You don't see me weeping unless it's for happiness. Because I only came for those that wanted me. And to get rid of the man that I didn't want from the beginning, which was the total opposite of us, the Caucasian or the white man. Not because he's bad or he's wrong or he's evil. That's not why I'm getting rid of him. It's written in the Holy Quran that we made them fuel for the fire. They were made that. They were not righteous and then turned unrighteous. They were made by me unrighteous to test me in you and to see if you really wanted only me, not a combination of me and him. And it has gotten to the point now that now you are crying out for me by the millions, but you're crying out for me through his eye. And I cannot answer that cry. Because I have to answer it just the way that I said that I would answer it. I would come in a way that looked as though I was slain from the foundations of the earth. I would be as a lamb. But what I would be doing would be so magnificent and so new that the angels of heaven that has all of the knowledge of since creation stored up in the vials and all of your prayers that your ancestors has prayed were so rejoiced that they made a new song for me. You listen at what this is now. All before that, they say there is nothing new under the sun. If this is true, how did they come up with a new song? Did they do it because I'm a minister? No. They make ministers. Ministers or scientists cannot make God. Are you listening? God? Only God can make God. I wonder who you would like to save you. If it's not me, you in deep, deep, deep trouble. I want you to know this, and I have a right to tell you, because I don't want to be charged for the very law that I put into motion of knowing the truth and refuse to tell you and have to be punished by my own self. You think about this. No preacher is going to tell you this. Matter of fact, I'm getting sick of the preachers. Not getting, I'm already sick of them. Because they are keeping you blinded to what is really, really, really happening. You think because you feel good, that is enough to take you into heaven, because that good feeling that you are experiencing, God knows in your heart you want to be right. Well, fine. The baby comes out of the mother's womb kicking and screaming because it's fighting for life. That's the baby's way of expressing, I want to live. But just the baby expressing it is not enough. We had to have already put on the mother the storage of food for the child or baby. So when the baby is kicking and screaming, the mother says, the child is hungry. And that don't have anything to do with feelings. The mere fact if the child don't eat or don't suck, the child will perish and the feelings is gone too. Are you listening? Just think now, suppose this man is God. Suppose he is. And I reject him continuously and encourage others to do the same. And then when you finally see, then you think, well, God is a loving God. It's written in the Bible, I didn't come for peace. If that's true, that means I'm not coming with love. It means that he came for war, to take heads. This is true. And for the ones that he came after was the ones that already had a base of his thinking from these lessons that I hear nobody going over publicly. They may say the earth weighs 6 sectillion ton, and we have 196,940,000 square miles of it, and so much is water and so much is land, and that's as far as they go. Are you listening? Get the tape. Get the tape. I did not come. I am love. I truly am. I'm that just for what I'm doing. I don't have to do this. I could send it out over the radio. I could send it out to you through the media print from the devil. We have that power to make him do that. If we could part the sea, we most certainly could make him do what we want him to do. Is that right? However, that's not what I said I was going to do. I said I would come myself, because I don't trust nobody else. After they're here for a period of 3.5 years to 5 years, they start to revert back to their foster parents' teaching. Or they start to revert back and feel as though they owe some type of an allegiance to the good devil that loaned you $5,000. We loaned him 6 sectillion ton. 196,940,000 square miles. And look what he's done to us. And because he gives you a few dollars, loans it to you, and then when you're unable to make your payment, you go and speak with him, he says, well, I understand. We'll readjust the payment. However, you still got to pay. And you says, well, I can't listen to that man. He's talking about white folks are devil. All of them are not devils. That is incorrect. He can't be. God is love. He loves all men. He made all men. And all of them are equal. So that man can't be God. Oh, really? You show me one that has done something good continuously, and he loved that he did it. So much so he's got you in a position where you don't want to do nothing right. If you do it, you want to do it in a way where nobody don't see you, or just that one person that you deal with, nobody else sees, just you and him. If you do it in a way where everybody sees you, think in your own mind, this is your thinking. Oh, now if too many people see me, they think I'm a chump. I'm a pushover. And here all of them going to come because they think they can just get something. You weren't born that way. That's not your nature. God's nature is to give. I am the giver. I'm giving you life now. Here. I'm waking you up spiritually here. This mass that you have that's up and walking around is already living. Regardless of what shape it's in, it's still living. But the mass does not control the thinking. It don't do that. It may influence it, but it don't control it. Are you all understanding what's being said? When you leave here, when I was in Chicago, I told you to go ahead and speak. And have no fear. Those that are with me, speak to the people. You don't have to be afraid of them. They have nothing. And just by you speaking, I don't care how nasty they get with you, give them 2 days. They're going to look you up. They're going to look you up. And black man and black woman, may I explain something to you. There is no love that I love more than truth itself. You know why? Because it has never failed me. When I call on it, it's there instantly. It don't make no compromise with me or no deal with me. It does what I made it to be. The earth has been rotating now over 72 trillion years at 1,037 in the third mile per hour. It hasn't speeded up nor decreased, not one iota. I don't have to wonder if the sun is going to rise in the morning. I know it is. It don't even try to rebel against me. And when I tell it to shine down on the earth, where we have those fat cows and those hog-eating Christians and Muslims that has went back to it, eating the swine, shine down on them and make them miserable. The atmosphere parts and let the rays of the sun come in and cook you. And then at night, we say, look, let's cook them a little more like an oven. So we bring a slight cloud over to hold the heat there. We won't let it go back up. I'm God. You might say, well, that's mean, is it? If I get you in the shape that you are, what do I have? The book reads that you are sick from the crowns of your head to the soles of your feet. So it's no big thing to me that all of you are with me and all are sick. Think about it. If I need a man to run a mile and 10 men show up and the best they can do is a quarter, I fail. 10 men are there, but they can't make it to the end. Let me finish this so we can get into some other things. I got a couple things and that's it. I think I went over 18 and 19. All right. 19, this is the last one. What is the prescribed law of Islam of said person of that ability? Meaning you know how to save, or you understand the knowledge that you have and you refuse to share it even with your family because you think your child has to go out into the world and you don't want to burden your child with trying to do right in the devil's office where everybody's wrong, so you refrain from telling it. And because they tell you, I don't want to hear that. You're living at a time now, you better make them hear it, or they got to get out of your house. Because as long as they're there, Satan is there. And as hard as you try to do right, it's like you sweep the floor up and somebody's coming along as fast as you sweep it up or vacuum it up, someone's coming right behind you and dumping shavings back on it. Or dirt, the same dirt that you vacuum up, they go and dump it right back on the ground, on the floor again. There is no difference. It keeps you in a perpetual circle of trying to do right, and they will wear you out. Are you listening? Now, what is this prescribed law? The answer, that the civilized person is held responsible for the uncivilized, and he must be punished by the nation of Islam. End of story. Although it's not a story. I would like for you all to go home and study this. I'm saying a few things concerning the lessons and hints and clues. And remember the time period of 1933. When you read the lessons, because you got it there several other times in the lesson, it gives you a time period as to when these lessons were actually given to the messenger, and they must correspond with 1914 or year 1 or 9,000 years or 15,000 years. They must correspond. You listening? All right. What is it that you would like to know from me? I'm not an individual that knows a few things. I know what I would like to share with you. However, you may not want to know that. So I always ask, what would you ask of me? Like I did Daniel. And a few other. It was a sister, I think, asked, no, this was in California, I think, asked, why is the Chinese eye slanted? Wasn't it Sister Call and asked that? Why was the Indian... Yeah, right, well, she's not here, so I won't answer that today unless you ask. However, I only came after the ones that wanted me. The ones that labored in the vineyard first. Now, those of you that are intrigued or enchanted or like what you see in me gathering the 144,000 or the ones that is first, and you want to be with me, I'm more than happy and more than pleased to have you with me. And when you're with me, I remove burdens. I don't put any burdens on you. I don't require you to go in the street and sell bean pies of paper. That is not the actions of an intelligent man. But I do require that you learn how to think. Because I'm going to catapult you into a situation where we are going to have to be independent. Our open enemy is not able today to take care of you. He's been fronting for some time now. And when he really comes out with the whole truth and almost nothing but the truth, where are you going to be standing? If you're not with me, working and having a place to live and food to eat, but mainly a kingdom to build, you're in deep, deep, deep trouble. I don't care who you are, whether you're white, Chinese, Indian, Japanese, or the original black man. I'm keeping my word. I'm keeping my word. Now the youth belongs to me. They didn't come under Elijah. They belong to me. And I keep hearing them crying out for me. I hope we have one or two of you here today. Maybe you can ask me a few things and take back to the masses that you know and let them know their answer is here. It has arrived. And I'm doing something that no one else can do. And I'm saying things that no one else can say. They don't have the knowledge nor authority to say it, because if they repeat me in saying it, and even say it more eloquently, they don't have the power to back it up. Are you listening? I hope I haven't made anyone sad. But I want you to take a look and put yourself in this position. You know, when I first started to become aware that I was fond of the other sex, it was a sister in the neighborhood that I said, well, this sister is going to be my wife. It was just something that I felt. Like this was a soulmate. However, I went and made this known, and I had no intentions at all to do anything wrong. Not taking advantage of her before we were married. Nothing. In my mind, I wanted to do everything, at least that I knew to be right, right. However, that's the way I felt. That wasn't the way she felt. That taught me a lesson. It's no different from the man that's standing on the car lot. He don't go to your house except through commercials. But he himself don't go to try to sell you a car. You go to him. He has what you want, so you come to him. I found out that the sister that really is my wife is the one that came to me and asked me. And after we got to know each other and how we should think and how we should be and what is expected of each other according to God and according to our own character, I found out that that was really my wife. You listening? What I'm saying is I'm not going to go after you. There's only one people I come after, and those are the ones that accepted me, and I sealed them. So the effort that I'm putting out and the energy that I'm putting out to break their seal, you are witnessing it. But those are the only ones that I came after because they came after me. And I wasn't ready to take them with me, so I sealed them. It's like a mother having a child, and the father is there, but then the father has to go out for an extended period of time. He don't worry so much about the child because the mother is well sufficient to take care of the child. However, when the father returns, if the stay has been long enough, the child should have grown. Now where it has enough intelligence, enough refinement, that it can go with the father, and the father is not ashamed. So when the father gets ready to leave, the child says, Dad, may I go with you? Well, of course, son. Well, of course, daughter. Come on. But if I got to ask them, you want to go with me? Well, where are you going? Right away, hey, I don't want you to go. I'm your father. Were it not for me, you wouldn't even be here. And that's your mother. Were it not for her, you may not be here at this time. Because he come from me. Now, I can give him to another woman, he's still going to be here. But however, he got to come from me, my son. Are you listening? So I came after the ones that want me. And I'm breaking the seals. Read it. It's in Daniel. It said, go thy way, Daniel. Like God said, quit bothering me. Like, look, go someplace and wait until the appointed time. When I come, you just wait. I'll be there. When I come, I'll break the seal and reveal all this to you. But until then, it's not time yet. Just go. That's what it's saying. So, you don't want me? I don't want you. If you want me, you want the right person because I want you. Is that understood? This is in a mathematical way, and there is no group, there is no mass, there is no millions upon millions of young black men that's going to come and make me accept them on their terms. If all of you stand before me and drop dead, and all I had to do is say live, and I won't say it, if I don't say it, it's because you refuse to accept me. A white man came out with a tape about the UFO. And he spoke about these UFOs that's hovering around the planet, this planet here, Earth, that's hovering around. And they said, he's saying that they're telling him, they don't want you all because you are walking germs. They don't want to take you and put you with them. You want to contaminate them. But look what the God, the creator of himself, did. Look what he did. Not that I go up on a ship and call you up to me. I came down and got in it with you. You know, found my spot. You see? And when you coughed in my face, I had to sneeze too. But I did that to make sure I'm going to quit sneezing, quit coughing, and if you hold on my hand, you're going to do the same thing. We're coming up out of this. And the man that is this by nature, I'm going to judge him, which he was already judged. before we allowed him to live. Remember, we said we made him fuel for the fire, meaning hell. We didn't make him righteous and then he did something to earn hell. We made him before he was made. The idea was to make him to express an activity that warrants hell. So we made him to justify us making this fire. Are you listening? All right. What is it that you want to know of me that's going to really help you to see the time? Not necessarily me, but to see the time. And I would like for those that has never asked me a question or don't know anything about me, you can go to the mic and ask me whatever you like to ask. And I am the supreme being. I'm not going to read your mind. I'm not going to put a curse on you. I'm going to do just what you asked me to do, answer your question. That's all. Is that clear? Well, are you ready to do this? Do I have any questions of me? No questions? I must have been teaching longer than I thought. Well, maybe I have some questions. Who's real knowledgeable? Do we have a preacher in the house? Or a minister? Or is the minister here? Or somebody from his camp here? Nobody? No questions. Well, what would you like to know? Nothing? Yes, ma'am.
Assalamu alaikum, Father.
Walaikum salam.
I have more of a statement first. I used to go to MGT. I used to be in the classes, and I left because there was a lot of negative around me. You got to excuse me. Every time I talk to you, I get a little nervous.
That's all right.
But I didn't leave because I didn't think you are who you are. I left because it was too much negative around me, and I wasn't learning anything. So I had to leave and figure out what I needed to do for myself. Now I want to come back, and I know I have to go through a process to come back.
Yes, ma'am.
And I was reading in the Bible, it says that you came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And you just came for them, meaning that's the 144,000. I want to know, and my uncle, Brother Rock, explained it to me, and so did my aunt, Sister Paulette, but I want to hear from you. What really happens to the people that come other than 144,000?
Those ones that come that are not a part of the 144,000 are ones that will be with me. And we have the duty of building a righteous kingdom. That's what happens. In other words, there's work to be done. Now, to get back to, there is no kingdom built, you know. There really is no nation. We speak of the nation of Islam. You can't find no nation. There's a title. And there definitely is no kingdom built. That's what I'm to do. And if you have, this is one thing we must understand. You know, when the child is first born, when you first see it, it brings so much happiness. Just to know this life came in, and the God, what goes through your mind at first, that God is giving you an opportunity to do it right this time. To bring someone up right. And you get to witness the power of right through this person that God is giving you charge over. However, this world won't let you do that, but that does go across your mind. It's no different when you're trying to be right or coming to the MGT. These are classes to learn. And as they persist or continue going on, the negative constantly is weeded out. Most of the sisters that are in the Nation of Islam or in the MGT, these classes, most of them still go to work for Satan. And let me explain to you what happens. I commend them because usually their husbands are working for Satan also. So when they come home and they're together, they can relate to each other as far as the way Satan sees things and does things in a divisive manner. However, when they come with me, they have to start putting their own self in check as to find out, how can I change this? Brother Solomon or Allah has not gave us the opportunity to have an occupation or a duty or a job that I can work strictly in the confines of righteousness. So now I got to push this stuff off that happened to me yesterday or this morning and go into class and be with other sisters to try to be righteous or to even seek righteousness. How can I do this? And if you come later and you witness this because you came to learn, our teaching is not the teaching in such a way where you learn how to go to the moon, how to make a rocket. Our teaching is how to speak to your sister and your brother and don't get into an argument. How to see your sister and your brother as yourself. Not how to see them and see all the negative and you say, well, they're so negative, I can't be with them. When it gets to be that point, then you have to check yourself. This means, now I am God himself. Just like I said, I came and got in this hole with you. I'm not calling up from up and calling you up. I'm here with you. So this means that I don't see myself so much better than you that I can't go through a little misery, a little discomfort to make sure that I keep my promise to you. And it also, whatever, one time I had a load. I used to drive trucks. I had a load of or business of my own, really, hauling things around the country, all over the United States, in Canada and Mexico. To me, it was a good life in the sense I was by myself, and it gave me plenty of time to think, and I got a chance to see the things that I got here in this country and the other two bordering countries, which really is all one continent. I got an offer. I wanted to go to the Bronx. I wanted to see some people there in the nation, and that's the way I did. I always, wherever I wanted to go, I got a load going to that particular place, and I got paid for going. This one, it was on a Friday, and I wanted to be there that Sunday, and it was on a Friday afternoon, I hadn't got a load. The dispatcher called me up and said, we got a load for you going, that's where you want to go. I said, where is that? He said, right in the Brooklyn. I said, I want to go to the Bronx. He said, well, it's in the same area. I said, okay. He told me to go down, gave me the address and everything, tell him who I'm from, and they give me the load. I got to the place. Before I got to it, it was reeking of foul stench. I said, what is this? It was almost like pepper in your nose burning. It was a pig place. I could have taken the load, and it paid good money, and pork pays good. I could have taken the load. I didn't take it. I stayed over and got a load the next Monday. So I didn't make my destination the way I wanted to make it. When I got the next load, I went straight to the Bronx. I said, man, this is good. However, it wasn't pork. But on the way, I had a revelation. Whatever you can't do, that's where the devil will get you. It means whatever you can't do, that's your weakness. And the devil never approaches you with your strength. He approaches you in your weakness to tear down your strength. So for me to say it was right that I didn't take the load, but that's not the way I talk to myself. I said I can't take it. You listening? That was an error. There's nothing I can't do other than lie. But I could have took the load, and wasn't nothing going to happen to me because I was carrying it to some dead people. They weren't Muslims or live people that I'm carrying it to. They were dead. However, I spoke to myself wrong. I can't take that. And I said, this is the same thing that you're asking me. I can't go to class. It's too much negative there. Well, if you don't go to class and you're going to go someplace else to get yourself straightened out or get yourself together, let me know where that is because I want to go there too. These are places that has been set up and constructed by me through Master Farad Muhammad, through the messenger, and here I am back again to get it initiated, just to get it started. But this, I'm not, if you notice, we don't have a lot of temples and things. I'm not here for that. I'm here for your thinking, not for you to just come to the temple and donate and whatnot, and then we go out and buy something. That's not what I'm here for. So when you go back to the MGT, and where you see the negative, you make it known. The MGT classes are there just for that. Not for you to just learn how to cook. It is there mainly for you to be able to converse with your sister without friction. You listening? That's what it's there for. And if I'm not mistaken, in the lessons here, it reads that the MGT and GCC, is the Muslim girls training and civilization classes. Those are the classes where you learn how to act at home. Act. Because sisters are not to be, brothers. They don't say be and make something. They may say be with me, man. And you go and be with them, but they can't say be and make something. So we teach them how to act at home and abroad. And those are the classes where you go and learn. And if you have the right to get in touch with me, to let me know, Father, and I allowed you to call me this. Father, I'm unhappy in the class. And I'm going to ask you, well, what's going on? What is it that's making you unhappy? It may be something that you're perceiving that's not really there. Or it could be there that is necessary to be there. You understand what I'm saying? You understand?
Yes, sir.
In other words, don't leave heaven because you found hell or the actions of hell in heaven. Because if we look at it now, it is actually heaven that's in hell. I haven't changed it yet. So the people that are in hell and that have accepted to come over and be in heaven, they're bringing the hell with them because they are the hell makers. They are the hell raisers. They are the expression of hell. So when they come to the class, which is heaven, they got to maintain themselves as much as possible in a disciplined way according to the knowledge that they have and understanding. And that's very little. So the first thing you're going to get is negative, especially from the sisters, because they are made to hold negative or to hold things, period. They don't let it go. This is why you can come back and say, look, I remember what you did to me last year. However, you're supposed to be in a system or with a man that is able to take that off you, like you're asking me now. They tell you exactly what it is in an authoritative way, and you see that it is real and you're protected, then you can let it go. There's no need to hold on to it no more because it can't hurt you. But most of the time you hold on to it because you always got to be aware. Is this going to come up again? Is he going to hit me again? Is he going to lie to me again? I better not forget it, because if I forget it and he do it again, I think that's the first time he did it. So I better remember this. However, if he comes and lets you know emphatically that that will never happen again, then you can let it go. He has taken the negative off you or out of you. Brothers, do you know, in order for us to make our appearance, we must come through water or come through a woman. That's a fact. Is that right? It's the same thing as land. Any new land that you're going to see or experience or witness, it has to come through water. However, let's look at what the water is doing. Now, the highest expression is the female, the woman, the water man. The water is laying on top of you. Every gallon is 8 pounds. 8 pounds per gallon. That's how much water weighs. Wherever you have a river, a stream, wherever the water is, except as a cloud, is resting on you. Let's look at the water that she's expressing. Here's the man, I'm the man. And the water that's resting on me has to be cleaned up. But it's resting on me. Are you all awake? Are you listening? Each and every man that's going to stand up to be God, to be right, the first place you get the trouble from is the woman. Because she's used to another man. Not another man of the same kind, but the foster parent, the made man, the imitation man. This is the man that she's used to. And he has made her in such a way when right comes up, and because she remembers no right that you've done, black man, she can't remember that. She can only remember what you've done, and copying after the man that has raised her is wrong, so she can't really put her hands on him. But you acting just like him, so she can put her hands on you and she don't forget it. So she's resting on you. And so in order for you to make your appearance, you got to come through it. You got to stand up through that. That's your wife, your daughters, your aunts, your mothers, your sisters. You can't let them stop you. Are you listening? And the young sister there, she said she's spoken to some others in the family, whatnot, and she made this clear. However, now she's speaking to me. I'm saying for her and all that are like you, go back to class. This is one thing in our classes that does not, our classes do not perpetuate negative. You may encounter it, and if you encounter it over 3 times in the same class, get word to me. You get word to me. Now, if it has to go through mother, go that way. Use every avenue that is afforded to you. Use it until you are satisfied. But I cannot be God and perpetuate something that's negative. All right? So it's best that you come home. You don't have you're away from home now. You know, when the rewards are passed out and you are not there, we can't give it to you. We would love to give it to you, but we can't give it to you. So what is a little misery for peace forever? Was that all, or you wanted to ask something else? All right, don't go. All right. Yes, ma'am.
Father, I understand my purpose and my destiny. However, I find myself at a stage now somewhat in the same principle as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, however, in the reverse. It was said and taught to me that the messenger was lonely because he didn't have anyone to talk to because of the knowledge that you have taught him. And he kept asking you to allow him more time here with the black man and woman to save them. However, my situation is different. I don't want more time. This is feelings. This is why I'm emotional. You have shared with me that the reason that myself and my brothers and sisters went through what we went through so that we could have patience for the black man and woman. But I feel my patience is running very thin, and I'm like a person that's fasting and leaving, but can't. So it's like the more knowledge I learn, the more I feel imprisoned. But I'm supposed to be happy so that I can inspire others to be happy. Yet I cannot go asleep to the lack of order that I keep seeing. The more knowledge that I learn, the more things that I see that's out of order, and the more I feel weighted. So if I'm in error for expressing this publicly, then I ask that you forgive me. However, I am human, and I'm not negative free. And I would, unlike DJ, the minister's daughter, who had a nervous breakdown, and I would want the people to understand how real this is. So I asked you publicly, how can I go to sleep to the lack of order that I see?
Well, when I explain this, I always explain things from the essence of what it really is. This goes straight to your heart or to the core of your thinking, and it brings you instant relief. However, the knowledge that you have or whatever you have to add substance to the essence what I give you, that depends upon what you have gained through your course of life. You may say, yes, that's right, and that's good, and I feel good, and he answered the question. And when you go home, you find yourself trying to wrestle with it again. Number one, as far as you're concerned, I've told you several times, you have nothing to worry about. when you try to force something because you know what is right, and we are asked the question in the lessons, what would you give to see this day? And the answer is, I will give all that I have and all that is within my power. And because I've made you a powerful individual. And you see, you're in a situation, or not you're in a situation, you see situations that don't have to be. That people either with you or that are around you or that is within your power refuse to do the easy things, which is right, that promotes harmony, and you're taking it to heart. This is why I say have patience. I deal everything in my own time, in my own way. Now, I'm going to answer your question as to exactly what is happening to you. And this is, you've been elevated in the sense of knowing to the point now you are conscious of your power or your abilities that is by nature that we gave you. And this is what is happening. You know, some sisters can attest to this. When there is danger or even a blessing, if it's a week off, they can tell you, you know, I feel it. I know it's going to happen. You're not concerned with it. The man is not concerned with it. Because if it happens or it don't happen, he's the one that has to make it real. He has to put the authority to it. He has to put the period to it. You know, they're going to come and cut our electric off. I know it. I can feel it. I think they're going to be here soon. And you say to yourself, well, don't worry about it. I get paid Friday. I'll take care of it Friday. I think they're going to come before then. She's picking it up. You're not picking it up. You feel comfortable with it because you know you're going to take it up. Even if they cut it off, you're going to stay there. You're going to get it back on. So the man don't make that no real worry. But the woman feels it. And when she feels that, it's like, well, the stream that she's been running in, this water's been running in, now somebody has come and dammed it or cut another course in it, and it goes another way and it starts splitting up. So now instead of the water running the way it's used to, it's split up and running 2 or 3 different directions, and it has lowered its level. So that's like, well, they're not as secure as they used to be. This is what is happening with you. Because you can see past next week, and you see the people that is around you don't see, even if they see it, don't have the right meaning to them to make them do what should be done, then you somewhat worry about that. When you don't have the right to worry about it, when I relieve you from it. That's what's happening. I know the brother came and told me, he said, my wife told me I was going to get a car when I got back from Chicago. I said, oh, yeah? He said, yeah. And here it is. He had no knowledge of it, but she saw it before he did. And told him, for what I can understand, told him in such a manner that she knew what she was talking about. So what I'm saying is this. My daughter's going through it now because she's the one that I have made the mother of. She has this knowledge. Each and every one of you are going to go through this if you're a woman. Because we put this in you. Since you are not to protect yourself, you are to be protected. We gave you a power that you can tell what's coming up on you without looking directly at it. You can be in a room and somebody opened the door. You can be in the house and the house locked up. And you sleep, you wake up and say, somebody came in. The man's still there snoring. You see? This, you are spiritual. So you see the importance of the spirituality and you see the power in being that way, what it really is. Other people don't see it. So you have to allow them to grow and then tell me, or then be to them, since they're in your power, tell them, I'm going to spank you. And don't spank them physically, because you said it, I'll make it come true. I will make to them the same importance that you have on the matter, it will be that important to them. This way they'll do it. But if you do it in such a way that you take it on personally, and this is sadness, because you see, you know, it's like Prophet Muhammad of 1400 years ago. He died from grief. He grieved himself to death because his people would not conform to what Allah had revealed through him. Grieves So if you are in the same position, you're trying to make something happen because you see what they don't see. Leave it alone. You see it, just you and I talk about it. And let them come up on it. You protect them while they're growing to what you already see. You're trying to make something happen. You don't do that. And if you make it happen, you got to, if water's going to make something happen or change something, it has to pick up its course. It has to pick its speed up. It has to get in a rage. If it comes around and sweep us off and sweep this building away, it has to hit it, undermine it, and take it away. But that's not the nature of water. The nature of water is to be pleasing, pleasant. When you touch it, it gives to you. It allows you to go into it. It allows you to float on it. It allows you to swim it. It allows you to take it in you. And you can drink it and feel good because of it. When you try to make it, when you try to change the force of it and do something else, that's when you come up with these other things or these other feelings. And I know the knowledge that I've taught you is knowledge that has authority to it. This means that you're the author, or almost make you the author of what you're doing. And in fact, you're not. But you're so close, it's hard to distinguish it. So that's what's happening. I'm your father. I'm your real father. I'm everybody's father here. But I'm your father. And I've already told you, you're married to the messenger. And you trust no one but Allah and the messenger. You don't trust the people with you. That's my love. Elijah's my love. That's my wife. I'm his God. And I love my daughter so much I gave her to him because I love him. And I know I didn't give him nothing not worthy of his attention. Are you listening?
Yes, sir.
And because he is waiting for me to go get past a certain hurdle before he fully comes into being himself or making himself known. And it's written in the book, Christian, that Moses would come before the people and he have a mask on. When he comes before his people, he take the mask off. That's the messenger. So if either one of you all were in the position of my daughter, this is her position. Her father is Allah himself. However, to whom much is given, much is required. And since I gave her much from me, I also gave her something that wasn't from me, the messenger. I made him into me and gave that to her. And then I gave her something to do in being a mother to those of you that wanted to come to be right. And then I back her up in whatever she does and whatever she says. Even if my wife go against her, I check my wife first before I check her. How many of you all would like to be in that position? She don't have to do nothing but be happy. If she say, Father, I want to go to Bahama and lay back for a week. I say, well, let me see if I can reach my brother's vest pocket and see if I can do that. But while you over there, talk to the people and enjoy yourself. Now, if you come to me crying and sad, something is wrong. You are closing your eye to the man you're with. You're looking at the man and not the entity in the man. You're leaving your father because of something you noted to be right and you think that something isn't happening fast enough. But I'm the God. If I don't cry, dry your tears. You got a whole bunch of brothers here waiting to do whatever they can do. The only thing they need to have be is commanded in the right time and the right way. You have nothing to do but be happy. Is that clear? I gave you nothing but a bunch of happiness with you. 5 daughters. Is it 5 or 6? 6 of them. And they love their granddaddy. I love them. Matter of fact, I mostly taught them. When they go to school now, they're almost like a little mischievous because the school is not operating at the level where they're at. They're looking at the teacher like, hey, and so. And what's next? You see? And this is real. This is real. This is real. I got 10 children from her mother. 10. All of them are spiritual. And they're extremely powerful. 6 sons are the angels that you read about in the Bible. That's my sons. Last time I was here, 2 of them were here on the stage with me. they make the earth reel and rock if I let them. It's a little early yet. Am I speaking over your head? I want to let you know, just because I say I'm here, it's not just me in this one particular body. I didn't come alone. The book reads, when you see me, there's a whole host in the unseen with me you don't see. That's all it is, daughter. And the devil always tried to ease his way in. Like you say, you're not negative free. He tried to ease his way in so he can bring about division, to make you ask why. If you ask why in the wrong way, you're doubting. And when you doubt, you open the door and let him in. And he's a rascal to get out. Once you let him in, he is a rascal to get out. He come up with so many things that sound mathematical for you to keep him there. You have to go through something to get rid of it. Yes, ma'am. Did that answer your question? Be happy. That's a B that I'm telling you. Be happy. You don't have the right to be anything else but that. When I see you unhappy, then I don't have the right to see anybody else happy, because I know it's going to be temporary. And I'm not a temporary God. I'm the everlasting. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I wanted to ask you when you first knew that you were God and how you realized that, if you could share that.
Well, I was told by a part of the scientists that operate the mother plane in the little ships that the messenger teaches us about. They came and actually told me. I had already been pre-warned or pre-told that I'm the true or real Solomon or the real Elijah Jr. At the time, I didn't pursue it, and this was back in 1974. It started in 73 of people coming and telling me certain things. However, the teachings of the message was so conducive to me, it fit like my own skin. I was very, very extremely comfortable with it. I understood it more so it appeared to be in anyone else that was with me, even those that were in my family. And when other people started coming and telling me, well, you are this and you are that of greatness, I just listened. Because I know I couldn't make myself great. I could just be myself, and if that turned out to be great, that's what it would be. After the 3.5 years, after 1975 to almost 1979, when Wallace, the individual that came into the nation and made it desolate for that 3.5 years, which is Warwick Dean, took the nation back to nothing. After that period was up and over, the scientists that we speak about that operates the mother plane and the little ships that we see called flying saucers or UFO, what the white folks tell you about, some of those ones that operated that came and actually got me. And it reads about in the Holy Quran and took me around the heavens, the universe, to show me what was there and what the purpose of it is. As it reads in the Quran, they gave me a little knowledge of everything. Everything. And this isn't the first time I've said this. Kathy Hughes knows it. Minister Farrakhan knows it. But you know what I found very strange? No one except people in the audience asked me about anything that took place or what did I see when they carried me out there. It is as though I said, it's like I didn't say nothing. If I said, I've been on, they came and got me with one of the small crafts, put me on the craft and carried me over the whole universe, all of it. And as they pointed out things, they were telling me what it is and how it got there. And those that are in authority, I let them know that this took place. They never once asked me, well, what did you see? Why was it you? They just said, uh-huh. You see? Now, after, because everybody had to go through the test that was with the messenger. Everybody had to go through this 3.5 year test that Wallace put on you. In the 10 Commandments is Korah. The character that played Korah is actually in real life Wallace. And Aaron that was running around with the people, whatnot, that made the golden calf at this time is Minister Farrakhan. But Joshua that was halfway up the mountain waiting for Elijah to come down or Moses to come down is myself. Now, after we went through that period of time, close to, matter of fact, shortly after, 79, they carried me and told me these different things and told me, well, they didn't tell me that I'm Allah. This is how they did it. Everything that they showed me and told me, and they kept looking at me, it's like I keep saying, black man, you God. Black people are God. I might say it like this way. You know, black people are God, and you black. But I didn't say you God. I just said black people are God. You know that? You know, black people did so and so and so and so, and black people is going to do so and so and so, but I never said you was God. Then that's why you get to think, wait a minute, I'm black. Are you saying I'm God? That's the way that they did it. They kept referring to me in such manner as though they was marveling over me. And I'm thinking to myself, why are they doing this? I don't know nothing. And they kept saying these things, then I just come out and ask them, I said, are you saying I'm God? I'm Allah? They say yes. So I had another question. Well, how could this be? I'm dumb as a frog. How could I be Allah? And here it comes back again. They said, wait, you will see. Just wait, you will see. Same as with you. If you be happy, you'll see. And just by being happy, you will change a lot of conditions concerning the people that's not doing right. They'll do it just because you're happy. But if they got to do it because you are concerned that it's not being done right, then they put a different discipline on themselves. They're doing it because of you, not because it should be done right. And they'll mess up every time. So I was told in that sense, I asked them, after I asked them, like I'm asking you to ask me questions, they said yes. Then, from that time to 79 to 1990, 89, I had to go through all these things that actually showed me that I really am. That's why it says Solomon, it took him 13 years to build his own home. He had to get his own self together as to who he really is and be that. Are you listening? Was it not written, or is it not written in the Bible that the Lord gave Solomon more knowledge than anyone else before him or that would come after him? Well, how did he do it? In the book it says like a dream. Well, by me telling you what took place here to you, it's a dream. But I actually went out in space and they showed me. In such a way I can't forget not one thing. And people that know me, when they ask me things that I've said, I said it the same way that I said it before. Alvin Farrakhan used to tell me that when I was staying there with him trying to deal with his brother. Minister Farrakhan's brother used to tell me, you got to be God because every time you say that, you say it the same way. How do you remember it like that? So that's when I was in the late 70s when I was officially told who I am. However, being told that you God and actually being it is two different things. I had to submit to the laws and principles that are here. But it is very easy for me to do because I am the embodiment of that. And by doing it, I have seen and witnessed the truth bear witness that they didn't lie and that I am who I am. If that answers your question. It does? That's all you wanted to know? I just made a whole mouthful here. What time is it? 10 minutes to 4. We can rock and roll a little bit now if you want to. I've told you, listen, I'm going to tell you what you just heard. You've heard that your brother that looks just like you, that come to make you happy, has been physically, not in a dream, not in a vision, all over the universe for the express purpose of being the favorite of the Lord of the worlds. And to justify him being this way, he has to save a people in a condition that does not warrant the Lord to come off his throne to get his feet dirty. This is what you heard. And I've opened myself up as a book for you to read whatever page you care to read. Yes, ma'am.
Assalamu alaikum, Father.
Wa alaikum salam.
I have been listening to your tapes lately, and today is my first time finally being here meeting you.
Thank you.
It feels good to stand here and hold a mic, knowing that I'm not singing, but actually standing here asking God a question.
Yes, ma'am.
You have lightened me from the time that I've listened to your tapes up until today. I feel good, and I thank you for coming into my life because I need it. God knows I do. I'm in the same situation like the sister's been speaking about, as far as the negative and dealing with the negative people in your life. I've been dealing with that for a long time. I've been following Wallace Steve for 8 years, and through the whole 8 years, it's been confusion. And I will ask my husband, Leroy 6X, I would say, why is it always confusion in our life? And he would say, well, just hold on, and we'll see. We'll just go through until the day we met you. Not knowing that we was going to meet you, but he's so strong and positive. He always been. I don't even know how to go on, but I just thank God that I'm here, and I'm glad to meet you.
Yes, ma'am. Well, this is what is happening. You can stand a moment. You may want to ask something else. This is what is happening. The MGT and FOI class, the FOI has been going through these mathematical thinking courses and whatnot. We're just opening it up to the MGT. It's every Tuesday night. We've paid for a place over in Oxon Hill. And I said, really, I think it's a nice place. I've been there a couple times, and I didn't go last Tuesday because I want y'all to really get into actually learning how to think mathematically. Instead, I always turn it into a meeting, so I didn't go. It's not because I didn't want to be in your presence. However, we've already gotten a place started for the sisters to come in jointly now. And whatever that happens to you in your life, or even more or less even with us or in your home, something that's personal to you, and you bring it out, and we discuss it and show you how to actually solve it, where the math is broken, where Satan is, how you're thinking about it, and how it should be thought about based on creation. And once you learn it and you're open with it, Allah is open. I brought a beautiful day today. You must admit. And it was more beautiful yesterday. Because I've been feeling very well. Ever since I came from Chicago, I got that burden off of me as to what I'm going to do with the minister. I got it off of me. I put a period to it. I've been very light now. And my daughter has been picking up that we're stepping into the next stage. And it is so magnificent. It's almost like we can't bring none of this at the level that we can't bring that with us. However, we have opened the classes up now. You can come to the mathematical classes, and I've been teaching Brother Secretary, James 2X, how I think, and the brothers have learned quite a bit now, and you actually discuss it. It's not where you come and sit and you don't say nothing. If somebody says so and so and so and you don't think that's what you can discuss it, and we get what the facts say, that what it really is. You learn how to think, and that's how you dispel that. If you don't know how to think, you cannot control Satan. Because he can think. You got to outthink him. You got to outmath that rascal. If you can't, you can always be miserable. And the ones that's coming now, come to the classes. Come to the classes. And if you want me to come to the MGT class, whatnot, I'll come. I'll come to MGT. I won't come every week, but I will come enough to let you know that I have not forsaken you. I went out today, no later than this morning, because the sisters here in Baltimore needed transportation to get over where we are. I went out this morning and looked for a van. I found one. It's perfect for what we need. But I looked at the bank account, and I left the man a check. I said, but don't you cash that check. That's just for your holder. I got to go see if we can actually do this. But I wanted to get the van, especially to you all that want to come. And I wanted to leave it here with someone, or set up a system where you can actually go until we get it started here in Baltimore. However, the van is in such shape that even if we get a place here, the people that be coming in on planes and different, we still can use it. Are you listening to what I'm saying? Well, no later than this morning. I almost got late getting here because I promised the minister. I asked him, I said, you got your license? He said, yes, sir. I said, well, we might try to get one that you have it so you can bring the sisters. And bring the brothers, because it's getting to be more than a carload now. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I have another question.
Yes, ma'am.
You were speaking on children as far as raising up and out the womb. Well, I have 7, well, not me, me and brother Leroy 6X have 7 children. And a lot of things you were speaking on that part about how they go against you and they want to be the parents and things like that. You're very right. That is true, because we're going through problems right now today with our children. It's 90. Our oldest is 8, and our youngest is 1. So we constantly dealing with that. Like I was explaining to you about when we was Wallace and Wallace, it was very difficult to pray 5 times a day, dealing with your children, reading. it was just very complicated. And then me and my husband would get into disputes behind that, and then as it go on, it just got further. It caused separation, caused confusion, caused a whole lot of trouble. But now we finally, my husband came and got me and brought you into my life, and we're back together, and I thank God for that.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
I thank you for that.
Yes, ma'am.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. You know what I experienced? There's another family of kin. You have heard me say this before. There's another family of kin that I taught and got them ready before I started to really get mine ready, because it's supposed to be 19. Sister Tynetta constantly says that. The 10 that came that represented the physical or the water. In order for me to teach them, I had to, what you say, just get right down in it. Because they didn't see me as their father. They didn't see me having no authority over them. And the things that they wanted to do and what they wanted to do was wrong. Their father encouraged them to do it. And when I went to the house and took them from the house and went and carried them into a basement and started teaching them, and some of them stand tall as me almost, in order for me to be successful, to let them know what they had to do, I couldn't have no fear. However, I had to know that I know. I had to know that the truth most definitely is the truth. I had to know that I was in time and on time. I had to know that they were actually the children that were supposed to be taught or be with me in that fashion and manner. So when I don't care how they came, and my daughter was with me, went through all that foolishness with them. That was part of her teaching. They come in and try to jack me all up in the collar and everything. One of the brothers came in and wanted to throw me down and stomp me in the face. He wasn't successful, but now he's in a wheelchair. He will never stomp nobody else. I may take him out later on, but you've got to know. So you have these children, and because you think, well, I've been doing this, they done got used to it, you let them know, look, hell no. I've met God, damn it, I'm going to be with Him. Now you either going to be with me with God, or you got to get your hat. And don't be trembling when you saying it, because you know He done came home and told you He done killed 2 or 3 people. And you will be, hey, forget that. I'm going to be with God, or we're going to die right here, right now. And you look, to tell you, to show you an example, after I had them there with me for a while, and my daughter can attest to this, this is why she's with me so close, because everything I went through, I brought her. See? Now, as 2 of them are twins. One of them was, about 12 years old at the time, I think it was. Was it 12 or 13? 12 years old. And they're short. And their father is kind of robust, kind of muscular. And the father was getting all huffy with the mother. Wasn't nobody home with the mother but him. He stepped up between his mother and his father and told him, no, sir, Dad. And the man backed down, looked at him, and told him, he said, you know what? He said, you look like you 10 feet tall. He's a little short brother. I mean, really short. But to his father, because he stepped up and was not going to let his father, after he'd been with me, and was not going to let his father abuse his mother, he stood up there, and that was me standing. So you got to do the same thing. You can't stand there and tell them, because you know they'll kill 3 or 4 people. You let them know, in this house, you're the killer. You see? And I'll be there. Believe, try me. I'm God. Try me. I love to be tried. I just love to be tried. Try me. I'm not saying be arrogant with the child. You come with the amount of force that they come, you come back with them in an authoritative manner. Not in a manner where you challenging them. You come, this is the way it is. Now, if they doing the dope and bringing home the money and you taking it and paying your rent and you scared to say something, you still got to trust me. If you got to go to the shelter 5 days, go on down there. Get that off you. You tell your son, listen, no. Either you going or I have to go. Well, I'm not giving you no more money. Well, you keep that money. I've met God. And what He has in store for me is written all in the Bible. 7 gardens of bliss. And brothers, they talk about the sisters in the Holy Quran with large, illustrious eyes. They can see you when you do wrong. You think about this. So that's the way you conduct your home. And I dealt with them, and every one of them in front of their father called me father. When I gave them back to him, if they wanted to go back, because I had to put a seal on them, something like the lightning bug. You know you don't know what a lightning bug is? Some of you call them fireflies. They open up the wings and light up at night. That's the light. But when they close them back, the light goes back out. I do that with people. If I come to get you for tomorrow, which may be 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years up the line, I come to get you ready. And while you're with me, I put everything there. And because I have to leave, then I shut the door. You go back to being what you were. But when it gets time, you light back up again. Are you listening? Well, if you try me, you will see. I'm a God that keep my word. Just try to do things in a balanced manner. Is there something else, sister?
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
I wanted to ask you a question.
Yes,
My
ma'am.
mother and my stepfather follow a man by the name of Rabboni, and he's in Georgia or somewhere. And they say in the Bible, they say follow the lamb, and they are telling me that he's the lamb, and I'd like to know who is he?
The lamb?
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the Bible, it speaks about two lambs. The lamb today that it's time for is myself. And the reason why I call it lamb is because the lamb is the only creature that we've made that submits, or that is more submissive than any other creature. And the lamb is more submissive than the parents, the sheep, because the sheep have lived long enough to be a little rebellious. However, the lamb isn't supposed to be that way. By nature, they're not. So it's the same thing with me. I'm what you call a new God, or the extension of God. I'm new to you. So I'm like the lamb. Now before me, it was a lamb that's called in the Bible the sacrificial lamb. This means here's a person that was raised up to be a messenger, to talk to you or to teach you the message or to share with you the message. However, in doing it, he had to sacrifice his family and everything that he was accustomed to. He had to sacrifice that. So he's styled as the sacrificial lamb. However, the lamb that you are to be with, if it's styled follow, at this time it is myself. All right? In other words, in the Bible or in Scripture, I'm styled as the Lamb. I'm styled as Joshua. I'm styled as Jesus Christ. I'm styled as the Son of Man. I'm styled as Solomon. Where's another one? The Prince of Peace. Belshazzar. The Lord of Lords. The King of Kings. The Man-Child. That's it, Joshua. Who? The Comforter? Yeah, the Christ. I am that I am. All of those refer, and the truth. All of those are adjectives or things that describe me. I'm the embodiment of that. So when you read it in the literature, whatever you read it in, you're reading that about me. Now there are those that are with me, such as messenger, minister, apostle, Peter, Aaron, Elzar the priest. You know, there are people that are with me, but the highest form of all of those are talking about me. Yes, ma'am.
Assalamu alaikum, Father.
Walaikum salam.
I'm asking a question for a sister who's on post. She had a vision while she was teaching MGT, and the vision that she had was everyone was looking at her, and as she looked at them, their faces transformed. She would like to know what that meant.
Well, I'd have to know, what did it transform to? Something positive or negative?
She didn't share that with me.
Well, it appears to me it was a vision.
Yes, sir.
Well, the best that I can describe that is that she had the power to influence them more so than they did to influence her. So it's like somewhat the way you all are looking at me. You cannot influence me to look like you, to even think like you. However, if you were before me, I will transform you to be like me. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
In other words, whoever was looking at her, she expressed a power that changed them. Now, if she is a Muslim, she's on post. She got to be a Muslim. Evidently, she must be with me.
Yes, sir.
So, you all are going to see. This, what I share with you, is so natural. Are you all listening? The handsome brothers didn't detract you, did they? This is so natural. For a while, you think you don't have nothing. You really think, hey, well, you know, ain't nobody, this ain't nothing. And the more you use it, the more you find nobody can do nothing with it. Then you start saying, well, this really is something. That's where we are.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Yes, ma'am.
Father, I just want to say that I love you.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm awfully happy today because I have 2 of my 6 daughters here. So I'm very happy.
Me too.
I just want to let you know, too, that it's been many years I had this, I don't know if it was a vision or a dream, that the house where we moved from, when we turned the corner to go up to the house, appeared up in the sky was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and it was in color. And it was a beautiful picture. And then it just vanished away.
This has been some time ago since you had that?
Yes, sir. It's been quite a few years.
Well, this was letting you know that you was going to live long enough to actually be in his presence. You would see him, either ascending from heaven. You didn't see him leaving, going, but you most certainly see him coming back.
Yes, sir.
And you'll be with him. And if you love me, and I do love you, hope your husband's not angry.
Yes, sir. I love you.
We're having a good time, but it is going to increase.
Yes.
There's nothing like being happy and being justified for being happy. You can't. There's no comparison. You can't find nothing to compare with it.
Yes, sir.
It reads in the lessons there or the sayings, when 2 people are at peace, if you're married, husband and wife, and you're at peace, you can't surpass that. And peace is the most satisfying of all of man's habits. It's the most satisfying. You can't be at peace unless you're in control. And the only thing that will put you in control is that you have knowledge. And the only thing that constitutes knowledge is you know how to think mathematically, and this way you can gain knowledge. Knowledge isn't something that they just pour on you and you got knowledge. You're supposed to have a formula that enables you to get whatever knowledge you need when you want it.
Yes, sir.
All right?
Yes, I have one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
What causes some babies are born with birthmarks and some don't have them? Could you explain that?
Yes, ma'am. Most babies that are born with birthmarks, it comes from some type of trauma or some type of intense thinking or an impression on the mother's mind before the baby is born. And to show that the mother was at that state, the baby comes with that mark. It shows that there was a time that it was something that impressed you greatly.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Now, it don't mean that it's bad. You know, you could be impressed greatly with something that's very, very good. But it really has to impress you. Yes, sir.
Father,
Yes,
I
sir.
just want to take this time to say I'm very happy today to be here in
Yes,
your
sir.
presence and share with so many faces that I used to be with under the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I was with Imam for a couple of years, with Minister Farrakhan. Now, you're the one that we've been waiting for, and I just don't understand it, why the people, the old believers are not here, because you're telling nothing but the absolute truth.
Yes,
And we
sir.
was given the formulas clearly on what to look for and what to expect from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I just want to say, wanted to ask you, because this is in reference to the tribe of Shabazz some 50,000 years ago, when he changed the people and took them into the jungles of Africa And just like we learned how the process was done to make the devil by grafting him from black to brown to yellow to white, the process of changing the hair, because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that our hair you know what our hair used to look like by the eyebrows.
Yes, sir.
But the black man today is kind of saying to you, I don't like my hair no more. You see more bald heads than you ever seen in your life. And there's a lot of money that is spent. One time the Conk was in. Then we started having decent haircuts when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad came in. Now, and then with Minister Farrakhan, the nicely shaved hair, neatly cut. Now all of a sudden, the black man is cutting all his hair off. I don't think it's from Michael Jordan. That could be part of it, but I would deeply appreciate if you could explain the process of how the black man's hair was from the beautiful, silky, straight, like the people in India, to the way it is today.
Yes, sir. Number one, let me answer this first. The reason why most of the believers that were with the messenger has not returned yet, because I have not got their home back. They want to return, but they're saying, well, where's the home? I want to go home. I don't want to go with him. I want to go home. And the minister knows this. So he's doing everything he possibly can to make sure I don't get home. And this way he, like, in some way punishes the ones that was with the messenger, because in his mind, you didn't go and help him. So now he's just done flushed the nation down the toilet. There ain't no nation. And they're looking at me and they know what I'm saying is true. The best of those come with me. As it gets lesser and lesser, they're waiting because they want to go home. They don't want to go with me because they don't see me no place. Because I'm not in no place, I'm everywhere. This body isn't, but the power of what I do and how I do it is everywhere. This is why it's so great. When you're with me, I protect you, because the powers of the universe, which they carried me around and showed me, answers to me. Not them anymore, they answer to me. So when I say something, I have the power to back it up. I can back it up. And as those with me can bear witness to this. However, the minister is in the way. He's no longer a threat or problem anymore, because I've already put the period to what's happening. And in a few days, you're going to see everything. Those that are not keeping up, it's going to be in such a way you're going to stumble upon it. You're not even looking for it, you're going to see. That's what's going to happen. However, the hair, when we decided to go into the jungle, and it was the God tribe, we didn't ask no other tribe to do this for us. God himself decided to go into this jungle to make ourselves ready to make this man fuel for the fire. And when we went the way that we were, the part that we went in was very hot. And we needed a hair that held moisture. If you notice where it's very hot, it usually rains once or twice a day. And if man hasn't gone down and done anything to the land, you have quite a bit of bush and undergrowth. That is to hold the moisture until it rains again, so it can cope with the heat. So it is with your hair. We had to make the hair kinky to hold it. If you think it's not true, you get your kinky hair, wet it up, and then let some white person wet theirs. And we had to broaden the nose to take in more air that has moisture in it, so it wouldn't cook the lungs. Are you listening? That's why now, since we're in a country or in a zone where the heat is not a problem, and the hair is still kinky because of what we did for the heat, the purpose of the hair is no longer needed. So what we do, we cut it to make it show order. Just to show order. Some has gone to the extreme because they couldn't wait for me, so they shaved it off. Well, this is why. If you're a Muslim And in the Holy Quran it says take a razor to your face or your head or whatever. It means put order to your head, because if your head is out of order, we can look for the rest of it to be out. You know, you can't go into the bank and the people that's running the bank are thieves and robbers and embezzlers and crooks, murderers, and you think the bank is ran sweet, perfect. Just ain't gonna happen. So it is with us. If we claim to be God, and the gods and the owner of this planet, and we're coming back to being ourselves, we must show order even in death. This is why when you pass and you go to the undertaker and he fixes you up in death, when they open the casket, you go there and say, oh, he looked good. He dead. They cut his mustache, combed his eyebrows, shaved his, combed his hair for you, put his suit and tie on, crossed his arms like he's in peace, best suits on, his white shirt is white and everything. He look good. But he's dead. No different with us. We're coming up out of death. So we're going to look good while we're doing it. If that answers the question.
Did they use chemicals and things like that at that time?
No, sir. We never use, no, sir. We don't use no chemicals on the eyebrows. We never use no chemicals. We didn't use anything that was against nature. Now this is what was before we went into the jungle. Just our own thoughts and our own behavior and what we did and how we ate and how we related to the universe made us a very beautiful people. We had to purposely go from around that and go into something that was hostile to that, to purposely make ourselves change, to purposely make ourselves lose the knowledge. And it took almost 50,000 years before we could actually complete it to a degree where we could actually go under this other man that we made fuel for the fire. So no, sir, before that time, all you had to do is be. We were extremely handsome because truth is handsome. We couldn't be truth and be other than handsome. So no, sir, we didn't use no chemicals. Today, the ones that do that and what they have pretty, what they call pretty or like the Caucasian or easy and manageable or manageable, get that right, use chemicals because that is the knowledge that they're operating out of. However, we got a beauty product already started. I have my wife's picture on it. Well, it's not my wife, my twin. That's her picture that's on it. So you always be looking at Mrs. Allah if we don't change the logo. But no, sir, we didn't use any.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And may the blessing of Allah, you are Allah.
Yes, sir, I'll take
yes,
that
sir.
too. Thank you. Is there anything else? What time you got? 20 after 4? Yes, sir.
Father, how does one go about finding his or her purpose in this life?
Well, the first thing you would have to do is, like a child, you assimilate, you gather knowledge, you put it together, and see what best fits you. Just what I'm talking, spiritual, whatnot, this is supposed to fit every black man. However, to be specific and get to your part that belongs where you fit into this is where the gathering of knowledge or being intelligent about things that you do or want to do, and when you get to the point that, I won't say excites you, that pleases you, that motivates you real good, that's what you are. That's what you should start exploring. That's the part that you start from. And this isn't something that someone will tell you what it is. You will see yourself. Well, that's how. You have, in other words, this may be, I'm saying may be, but it's 99% true that you're going to have to be with me in doing. In other words, I have to get the nation actually doing, where we actually have transportation, we have farmland, we have schools, we have buildings, we have teachers, we have banks, we have things going, and you come to work in your nation, and you find what you want to do. If you want to be a man that know how to get things out of the ether, like some of these sisters, it's good. They have a vision, they see this, whatnot, they see it. If you want to pull it out and see what we can do to make this better, because we're starting with what the devil already got here. Like the devil started with what he found already here. We're starting with the roads, that's already paid, the building that's already built, the schools that's already here, the supermarket, the whole system he got set up. We have to start with that and go from that. So the part that you find that motivates you to the core of your thinking is the part that you will, I won't say play, will be in the building of your nation. And in doing this, you will grow out of that into something else, because truth leads to more truth. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So that's what will happen. And this is what we're doing now. You know, I haven't, for those that get this tape and for those of you that are here, you might say, well, how come you haven't just taken the nation? I'm not supposed to take it that way. I'm taking it, but I'm taking it in a way where it cannot be taken back, nor can I even give it back. That's the way I'm doing it. And it has to be given, because that's what people do. They have to give me. Or it must appear to be that way, although I'm pulling the strings. You see? Now, what we already have, if I was to go ahead and say, well, I'm starting the United Nations of Islam and go ahead and do it the way that we say a nation should be, I would be working against myself. Because the nation of Islam is the nation that I got started in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. I started that. So if I go and start something on the outside of that, that's bringing more confusion to the people. And the people that want to go home can't go home because I didn't get home back. You see? So I have to be very careful as to what I get going outside of the nation. I can't do too much. I won't say I can't, but it wouldn't be right to do too much. I got to do just enough to show that I am the author of what is right. So we got the banking already started. Now we got a few trucks, whatnot. We can start a little bit in transportation. We got some farm. We just sent some brothers up to a farm. We got some farmland now to start farming. You see what I'm saying? Growing the beans for ourselves. We got, I'm thinking in Connecticut, they're letting me know we have the use now of a bakery. We start baking, and people already start buying the pies and things. So that's why you might not see nothing. However, we got it going. And the sister that goes to, you all that go to the classes and you're not yet contented with what's happening, this is just the surface. Don't stop going. You need to be with me, so when the explosions take place, the people that has to control the explosion has to have knowledge. You know, like they go and blow a building down and don't touch the building right next to it. They had an explosion, but somebody controlled it. It only blew the building up, sitting between the other two buildings. The building fell straight down. So when we step into the nation and this explosion comes, boom, the black man is up. Well, we got to have people that has been with me long enough to control that explosion. You got me? Yes, ma'am.
Assalamu alaikum, Father.
Wa alaikum salam.
First of all, I want to thank you for increasing my understanding, because I'll be asking you daily to help me to understand, and I'm understanding more. But what I want to ask you is, how much influence did you have on this movie, Close Encounter of a Third Kind? Because I tell you what, you mentioned it, and I said, I'm going back and look at this video again, and I made my kids sit down with me to watch it so we could understand. And, you know, just from picking you out, Roy, taking you on the ship, and the way that you were inhaling, I thought about when the entity entered the body, and you could see the light, which was energy, and it was just so much truth there. I said, I'm going to ask Father, did he lay it on the devil's mind, how to put some truth in that, or did they see something? Do they know this? Or I just want to understand, because I know there were a lot of truth in it, and the name Roy just was not a coincidence. And do that ship look something like that one?
Oh, no, ma'am. It don't. No, ma'am. It don't look like that ship that they showed. This was something that we gave just. Roy was the one that made the movie, you know. Did you all know that? The one that played in the movie, starred in the movie, is Roy. He made the movie and did most of it in a barn. We're talking about the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind. All of y'all that has not seen it, go get it. Go to Blockbuster and go look at it. It's telling you about what happened with me as far as me going around the universe and being shown what really is. It's in that movie. However, this is what they did. This is how much they love me. Not loved, but love. These are the scientists, the ones I'm telling you about that rule the planet. This is how much they love me. After going up and showing me these things, they did many things to take place to show that they are in accord. They kept showing me, we love you. Look at this. We love you. Look at that. We're in control, see? Now, this was knowledge that I was just receiving. And they start sending things and causing people to do things to confirm or to bear witness what I was told is absolutely the truth. Now, the ship was, the one that I went on was very small. The mothership that they showed that had all these different tentacles sticking out and whatnot, that was the devil's touch that he put on it because he didn't know how it really looks to actually build it that way. So it made it look very confusing, or it wasn't a lot of order to it. The only order that you saw is once you walked inside, and then you seen how the ship was on the inside, and it went up and opened it up and everything, and then the light came down and showered this Roy. The light means knowledge. In other words, I cannot lead you into the hereafter by flesh. I have to be able to tell you something that opens your spiritual eye, that gives you the knowledge, and you can see how to go in. And this is what they were showering him with. Yes, ma'am. They did that to show me part of their love for me. They also, I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. They told me, well, matter of fact, I asked them, why is it when Patti LaBelle sings, I usually get a chill that runs from the back of my head down my spine? I said, why does that happen? They said, we made her just for you. Every time that happens, you're being more yourself. That is there is being unleashed, and you become more knowledgeable. So we made her to sing to you. And that's why she's called Patti. She's got it down pat. And she's the bell that gets my attention. You see, they did that because they loved me. But they didn't do it for entertainment. They caused her to do this and also aided me in my growth. It's like you may give your child a toy that makes noise to keep his attention, and they be shaking it, ding, 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 ding. They gave me someone to sing, and it got my attention. I was laying on the couch one night, sleep, and I heard this devil singing, and I still stayed halfway asleep. And then I heard this other voice come in. I sat straight up, and I looked. It was Patti. They were having a duel, and she was doing it. And I had all kind of chills there by myself. But just to show you, that's how much they love me. And that's what I do for you. I don't have to be in your house to help you. If you really want something that is right, you want to be loved, and what you want is right, I'll give it to you or show it to you. And you don't have to apply me to it then. Just be happy. After a while, you'll see who did it. I'm God. I'm everywhere. You can't hide from me. And I'm not even looking for you. And if I see you do something wrong, just remember, when God looked at Satan, he winked at him. He didn't jump on him, he just winked. Catch you later. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. I have just one more comment. A lot of times I listen to your tape and I hear you saying things and I try to figure them out. I don't know if I'm supposed to be trying to do all that or not, but I've heard when you said that you were going to be in the palace, and you said that Minister Lewis is going to give it up because it's a burden on him. Okay. And you say it's going to be soon, and I believe it just because you said it. But I'll be trying to figure it out. You see him there, and he's stubborn, and he go against everything that you say. And I'm saying soon, what's going to happen? Well, before I left home today, I was thinking on that, and Brother Avery had told me something yesterday that he heard that Minister Lewis had bought $2 million home on the internet. He was just telling me that, and I said he bought a $2 million home?
Estate.
Estate. And I'm thinking, well, number one, he's telling me he's getting ready to move out. I mean, that's what I picked up on. And then, secondly, I said, well, the burden is going to be that those of us who understand the teaching see that he have deviated from the teaching. You can pick up any book and you see that he's off course. And with you, telling us or reminding us about the teaching, it's like a burden on him, because we see him in the house not doing the teaching, and his rhetoric is like he want to be for all the people. So the burden will be, if I'm here, it's a burden because I have to be what I don't want to be. And then he's going to move. And I said, thank you, Father. I'm figuring this thing out because I want to know, I want to understand for me. And you said today we have to know. Am I close in my thinking?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, ma'am. That's the right type of thinking. You're right on it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Since when you read about Peter in the letter of truth, I don't know how many of you all have it. We put in there that, Peter was naked in the boat. This meant that he was in the nation of Islam. The minister was in the nation at the time. However, he wasn't teaching anything. He hadn't caught no fish, meaning he hadn't got nobody, none of us to come back. Because we could see that the other people couldn't see. But what he was riding on in the boat was the masses of the people. That's the water that's holding the boat afloat. Now you remember when Peter saw Jesus coming, he stepped out, and now remember now, the boat was really rocking there for a while. And when Jesus stepped up, which is myself, and said, calm, the winds be still, and the waters calm. And he said, oh, Jesus, can I walk to meet you? Because I was walking on the water. He stepped out to go walk on the water to meet me. This is what has happened now. Meaning that he stepped out of the laws and principles of Islam and stepped into this world. Going back into voting and deciding who's going to be over your life through voting and through groups and organizations. No more does he have any trust or belief in the one God for separation. Moses taught separation. He didn't teach integration. So he steps out, and when he steps out, right away, the people, he has no control over them because they don't really know him. In the sense that the ones that's in his nation know him. He runs it like the mafia. They're afraid to death of him. So even if they know something wrong, they're not going to say it. They just keep their mouth shut. But since he stepped out of that now, stepped into the people look, what? This man bought a $2 million estate, and he said, no, we putting this in the paper. That's going directly against what he's preaching. He can't keep them shut up. So you're right. Because now the attention, he stepped out. So now the people are all calling, I need help, I this, I that, I do the other. And Mr. Farrakhan was great enough to get 1 million and so people there to the march. I know he can help do this. He could if he would. But that's not the way we're doing it. We're not letting him help outside of the house. The same as I won't do so much outside of the house. So he can't do it. Now, if he's going to try to answer and take on the weight of the masses of the ignorant people, they can't hold him. He's slipping through. So then he sticks his hand and, oh, Allah, will you help me? I'll be standing right there in front of him. I might not. I might move him out of your way so you can't kill him because he got something to do, but he needs to be spanked. You see? So yes, the weight of the people, the misery of the people that this Caucasian has put on us, he cannot remove it. And because he can't remove it and he won't allow the one that can remove it in his house, he has to stand for the weight and he can't stand it. So now you're going to see it more and more. Because one thing you cannot trust, and I'm not saying it to be arrogant or to poke fingers or of that nature. I'm saying it because it's true. You cannot trust the Christian. Especially the preachers. You can trust the parishioners more so you can trust the preachers. They lie to you in your face in the name of God. They've lied to me. Yes, sir, Brother Solomon, you come back out, we're going to have this conference, and what you said and what you did is unprecedented. I can't wait until we get to the next one. Get closer. Is the time still ready? Well, no, he's out of town. We can't find him. When we do get him, he sends a note. They never show up. So when you ask him, is the man telling me a lie? Well, no, it's not a lie. Things come up every day, and God has us to do so and so, and God. And I said to myself, I don't recall that. You see, these are the people that you're working with. And this is why it is written, and he has said it many times, and it's still there to be read by whoever wants to read it, that you don't take no Christian or Jew for a friend. For a friend. Now, I don't deal on Christian or Jew or Muslim. I deal on the principles and the laws and principles of creation. I deal mathematically. So if the Jew comes, he want to do right, he can do it. If he wants to. As soon as he break it, we got it. If the Caucasian comes and he want to do right, he can come. As soon as he break it, we got him. If the Christian comes, they want to do right, they can do right. As soon as they break the math, we got him. Because I'm not dealing on if you're a Christian. I'm not dealing on is he my friend. I'm dealing on, are you the nature of God? If you are, well then this is your duty. To express truth. To teach the uncivilized civilization. So I don't worry about that. But when you don't have this, and you're looking for someone to keep their word, and make their word bond because they're driving a Cadillac, and they got a church that holds 8,000 members, and you think they got all the wherewithal to do it. Well, he told me, he's a big man. So he should be able to stand up and do whatever he say. He got the power to back it up. And the man, when he said it to you, he might really mean it. Go home, talk to his wife. She said, dear, you don't need to do that. I mean, you work with these people, you know they're going to take you off. They don't even believe in Jesus. He go to bed. He think about it. He wake up. He said, well, you know, dear, what you saying, that is right. You know that's right. You know, and the Lord loves you have to keep with Jesus. But then he don't call and tell you he changed his mind, or his wife changed his mind for him. He don't even call and tell you. You get rid of him to the last minute. You can't find it. Are you all listening? I'm not talking about the preachers or nobody. I'm telling you what is, I'm telling you who I am, I'm telling you what I'm doing. I deal with from the laws and principles of creation. It's here for everybody. If you step outside of this dark auditorium, the sun is still shining, it will shine on you. If you're a righteous man, if you're a crook, it's still going to shine on you. However, if you're righteous, you're in accord with the shining, it don't bother you. If you're unrighteous, you ate all that pork, you sweating to death. It's killing you. But both of us in the sunlight. You see? So if the Christian comes, he make his mind, yeah, I'll be with you. Are you going to be with me? Now, to be with me means to be with what's right. To be with the principles of it. To be with the laws of it. To be with the formulas of it. Yes, sir, I'm with it. Okay. So when I leave physically, you don't have to worry about me being there physically. The law's still there. Now, if he kept his word, then I know he went by the law. If he breaks it, I know he broke it. Somewhere down the line, he broke the law. Now, if I want to pursue it and see where he broke it, that's up to me. If I want to just forget about it, I just forget about it. When you break one law, you broke them all. Yes, ma'am.
Assalamu alaikum, Father.
Wa alaikum salam.
Is it correct that there are 24 scientists?
No, ma'am. It's 23. And the 24th one is the acting God himself.
Yes, sir. I would like to know if any of the scientists are of the female gender.
No, ma'am. But they do have wives. We do things for what it is for. It's not, and this is something else you all are going to find out very soon. How powerful you are as being a woman. You are out of order when you want to be a man, and vice versa. When a man wants to be a woman, that's out of order. You can't make no math work for you then. It just won't work. And it don't mean that, let's look at it this way. What are the scientists that are living? Who was his first teacher? If he made it to be a scientist, then the mother had to have taught him enough that caused him to be able to do that. If she didn't, he would never have made it. Because he would never learn the formula of discipline that would require that type of study. So in order for him to be that, there had to have been a great wise woman. And she don't have to go and drive the car or pull the car. The person that came from her womb will do it for her and cause her to ride. And she can look at the flowers. You see?
Yes, sir.
So you're not, I'm saying I'm God is true. But I have not left the female out of nothing. I just said when you get your hair products, I'm not on it. The Mrs. Allah is on it. I have someone that's a twin to me, a female Allah. I'm not just male. I'm male and female, physically. But I'm the author and the master. I'm that because of the original Allah. Not that I have to be. I'm paying, I won't say attention. I'm following the law that the original Allah created. And He made woman after He made this earth, or blew the moon away. He made a woman. And he was pleased with what He made. So I'm pleased with it too. So in order to show that the two are actually one, this is why we have a marriage or a merging. And the water must merge with the land. The land can't merge with the water. If you have a big piece of land and drop it in the water, you will splash all the water out. But you can pour the water on the land, and the water, the land soaks the water right in. So the water has merged with the land. So it is with the man that's got some knowledge. When the woman comes and she merges with him, she's in him. They become one, man and woman. God in His completeness. So you are extremely great. Extremely. It don't have to be in no position of authority. You have the position of mercy that will allow us to continue being in the position of authority. When a man don't have a wife and he's got to raise his child, he's got to step down from being in the position of authority to the position of mercy. First place, he don't have the voice for it. He got to change his voice when he's talking to the little children to keep from them feeling like as though they're coming being judged. He got to say, "Oh, hi, Johnny. How you doing today? Oh, you been good?" That's not him. But his mother can say it, she said it naturally. "Oh, hi. Wassalamu alaikum. Your father's on the way home." This is natural. The baby don't pick up no authority, no threat in that voice. And then the father can come home and say, "Well, dear, how did it go today?" The child says, "Oh, man, he's talking to the mama like that? She likes it. Oh, boy." But then "You did what to mother?" He gets to shaking and trembling because he's not built. They're not of the age to have any authority on them. It has to be mercy. You all follow what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So the Catholics talk about Mary all the time. Mother Mary. You are greater than Mary. The minister named it the mosque Mariam. So you don't need a position of authority to show that you are worthy or you are wanted or that you are actually somebody or God's wife. We'll make you to be who you are. And believe me, you'll be extremely happy. I wouldn't feel right, nor would I be right, taking on the role of a woman. And once you find out what a man really does, you wouldn't feel right being a man or trying to be one. You wouldn't feel that way. Is there something else?
Yes, sir. I have one more question. Knowing that the destruction is coming and that America is falling, the system that we have now, you're teaching us to use the mathematical thinking to set ourselves in heaven, and we are to do that at once. Now, is that phrased that way because the destruction is coming and we are to enjoy whatever happiness we can get right now? And does that include not worshiping but acquiring whatever physical things that would make you happy as well as what is going to make you happy spiritually?
Well, yes, ma'am. It's not that it's so much that we don't have a lot of time, which we really don't. We have to, and the time is spent in this way. We have to do enough to show that we really are the God. We would not be right destroying this devil from amongst us, and we had not done something at least to show that here's another alternative or here's the right way. So before we actually do him in, we have to be about doing something, and you can only be successful if you do it mathematically. If you do it haphazardly, you're going to fail. If you do it mathematically, you'll be successful. So now, we have to do this at once is the urgency before we take this devil out. However, after we take him out, we still going to have many things that we're doing. Because the other part of the earth, people have to see that they most definitely is the God. So that when we go over, when the fire starts here, when I send the fire here, and we leave this continent to go to where I have already prepared for us to go, they have to be in a position where they want us to come. It's almost like they're in competition with the rest of the world. We want that intelligence here with us. The other countries say, well, hey, come with us. We want you here with us. You know, we're black over here and there. And you need to be with your own people. Come with us. And then the other countries say, well, look, we have the knowledge and we have the resources. Come with us. But they're not going to ask us to come no place if we have not made a showing right here in hell. You see? It's not about getting supermarkets, laying the road. It's not about that. But being able to do something in peace and then changing what is already here into a way that is more mathematical or more conducive, more in harmony with nature. When you can do that, then we have done something no one was capable of doing. And when the world sees it, because remember, this lake of fire is a lake of fire. It didn't say the earth was going to be burning. Only a portion of it. And the messengers taught us well that that portion is North America. North America, not even Mexico, nor Canada, but North America. Those brothers that's dead and hit in the head and buried in the north corner, I'm the Solomon to put the lion's grip on them and pull them up and start the building again. And we're going to build in such a way that the whole world and worlds bow to us. Every tongue will confess, every knee shall bend, and they're going to know that I am that I am. Yes, ma'am.
Assalamu alaikum, Father.
Wa alaikum salam.
Can you tell me the significance of December 25th?
Yes, ma'am. That was, first place, we are people that is not very fond of cold. We don't like cold weather. Nor do we, when we went into the jungle to be ourselves or whatnot, we went into the jungle. We didn't go to the North Pole nor the South Pole. Wherever there is a fungus or something that is negative, it's always usually on the north side of a thing. Meaning that the spirit of Allah or the temperature is not there that's conducive for the God. So the man that, go ahead, B. So the man that wanted us, you still there? He likes me. The man that wanted to steal the birthright of Jesus or to make us think that Jesus was born on that day was really a man named Nimrod. And Nimrod was a man, go, B. Nimrod was an individual that wanted to come in at the ending of Jesus' reign, or really was, I think it was Jesus' reign. He came in, 3,000 or 300 years after Jesus reigned to change everything around. He was a wicked person. And so the devil used him to mock me and say it is the birthday of Jesus. So he would have all of the world, especially the ones that don't know Jesus, worshiping the devil or a devilish man in the pretense of worshiping a righteous man. So it's like, it's like you go and ask somebody, well, how do I get over to Orleans Street? And really, you about 2 blocks away, if you just make a right turn and go down, you run into it. They tell you, make a left here, and go down about 6 blocks, and make another right and go up, and you'll see Nostrum, and make a right, and then go down, and just keep it, you'll follow, you run into it. At the same time, they knew you was right around the corner from it. So you leave to actually do that. You feel good because you think you've got the right direction. This is the same thing with this. You think that you are giving homage or paying homage and respect to God's Son on His birthday. So this puts you closer to God or Jesus. When in fact, the man has got you worshiping the man that is opposite of Jesus and laughing at you. And at the same time, he says, now this is what you do to show how happy you are. Get you a fifth, get you a cured ham. See? And then you have a feast. And buy your children things and whatnot and pretend that you Santa Claus, even to grown-ups. Pretend, that you're Santa Claus. Get a tree, cut it and put it in, and this is how you celebrate it. You go and do that, and it's an insult to what is right. There's no birthday. God never asked you to celebrate his birthday. Very few people know my birthday. I don't look for nobody to celebrate the birthday. I want you to be right every day. So that's why they do that. December is a cold month. And it's a month where you're really supposed to be, like it's like the ending of the year or the ending of your, the year of the 9-year cycle that you usually be in. And then, around the 21st or the 25th of December, the sun starts to come back around again and you're supposed to come to a new life and start coming back up. But they do it in the spiritual sense as far as this Jesus thing is, they do it to make mockery of us, to keep you dead. If they can have you, if they can have me looking at that camera and make me think that I'm looking at the actual TV, then I'm the one that's being fooled. If you're looking at Jesus and you're really looking at Nimrod, but you think you're seeing Jesus. And in actuality, it's not.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. We have to wake up. We have to wake up. I'm going to take one more question. Time is slipping away. I hope I haven't bored you all. Get the tape. I cannot express it enough. The die is set. The destruction is set. The only thing you have any flexibility in is your quickness to accept. I will not be doing this forever. I won't be doing this forever. It's not long before I will be in my home that I constructed for myself that gives the period to my authority. And when I do that, I have to go to work immediately in resurrecting things for us to be resurrected. Now, if you're still laying back wondering and hoping or thinking that it is someone else other than me, you are in deep, deep, deep trouble. When you come to my door and I don't answer it, don't charge me with your own ignorance. We've had a messenger here for 40 years. And he shared the message. I'm now giving the understanding of the message and making it law. And I'm showing you the power that I have, that I'm taking my home. And I'm inviting you there once I get there if you would want to be. Now, are you with me? If you're not, get with me. All of these meetings that you all go to, that I've been hearing on the radio, whatnot, this meeting, that meeting, and you having this meeting and that meeting, and donate to this and donate to that. If you must go to the meeting, you go to the meeting and tell them, listen, we have met God. He's here. Now, if you don't believe it, let's corner him up. Let's get this place and invite him, and if you think he's not God, let's jack him up and see if he is. And if he is God, forget all these meetings. He already know what to do. Let's have him to instruct us as to what to do so we can get about being independent, being a man again. Are you willing to do that? I hope you are as sick of these meetings that I keep hearing. I'm sick of hearing that you're begging for me and I'm in your face and you won't pay no attention to me. Nevertheless, the time goes on. All right? Yes, sir, brother. Wa alaikum salam.
I would just want to thank you, first of all, for coming to Baltimore and sharing your knowledge and time with us here, because most of us can't get to where you are. But I have a question I want to ask you about. Lately on television, I've been saying a lot about these UFOs, so-called UFOs. I want to ask you, are these beings from another planet, or are they some of the small ships from the mother plane that these Caucasians say been abducting their people?
Well, if they're coming inside the Earth's atmosphere, it's ours. there are those that are on the outside that are waiting and trying to influence some of our thinking so that they can have a piece of this. However, once we start thinking and take our place, they will be more than happy to help us do what we have to do as far as getting rid of negative. The ones that white folks are saying that is abducting some of these people, taking them out into space or taking them where they want to take them, is still us. Or it is robots that we have operating the ships for us. We're so advanced in things, it's the same as what the devil is doing now. I think he says he's sending a probe to Jupiter. So so he can pick up some dust or something, or he got one tailing this comet, want to get some dust and send it back in a vial or something. Well, with us, if he knows how to do that now, and we've been here more than 72 trillion years, what more could we do? So yes, we send a plane down, we have robots on it. They come and abduct people for the express purpose of seeing just what you are, what will do what now. See, you could take something that worked yesterday and be using on you yesterday, it worked. But today you change, and you use the same thing, it don't work. You see? So if we want to take the devil out, and everybody that's with him, or if we want to make ourselves well, and we see what is going to do it, and we get the people to actually try it on. You see what I'm saying? It didn't say they took him out and killed him. Now the devil, he'd be lying a lot too. He comes up and says it was painful and they did this and they impregnated this. And they do a lot of lying to make sure when you do, because the ships belong to you and the people belong to you that's operating them. And when they actually come to you, they're your friends. When they actually come to you, then you're afraid because you've been looking at what the devil's been showing you. All right? Was there something else? All right. I cannot stress it enough. The secretary will come up and give the address and the time where we have mathematical thinking classes. If there's enough of you all here in Baltimore, we will send someone from me to actually do that here also. The minister is here, and from what I can understand, quite a few brothers and sisters that's here in Baltimore has already came under his teachings or through him, and he's with us now. So you should get the word back out to come back with Minister Kareem, because he has been with me long enough now to learn what to teach and the understanding of it. And he has someone to back him up now that's not threatening him. All right? The time is ticking. I love you all. These your glasses? I'll leave them here. Assalamu alaikum.